Oh man, there's so much to say about this film. Cyborg. He seems a good man in the movie, got himself a great moral center, looks out for people where he can, and wants to achieve, to have his parents feel a sense of pride. As time goes on, his father is less and less available. He even misses his son's greatest sporting achievements, and this, in part, connects to an accident that takes Cyborg's mother's life and leaves him mortally wounded. His father uses a magic box to give his son his body back, but his son hates him for it alongside the accident having created resentment. He thinks himself a monster without a family. A broken man looking for a reason to live. He begins to realize his power can be used to help the entire world. The possibilities are almost overwhelming. The first step is deciding to give a woman some extra money as she is a verifiable good person and she's down on her luck. On his path to reconnecting with his father, he is led to the Justice League, and when trying to rescue him, an understanding is achieved. Only his endeavor with the Justice League and the Mother Boxes leads to his father's death. A noble one, perishing for a good cause. Moving forward, it would be unacceptable not to do as much as he can, and even the idea of being consumed by the Unity when trying to prevent it doesn't stop his resolve. He doesn't waver, and in the climax of the film he discovers that his past life, his body, and his family are gone, but that doesn't mean he's alone, or broken. And so, with some help from the team, he defeats the incoming enemy force and finds a new lease on life. Inspiring. Silas, his father, is quite the character as well. A man of science, quite smart and loving in his own way. His work took precedent in much of his life, but when the choices came, when the difficulties arose, he was willing to give up his life in an instant for the betterment of the world. And man, he is quite the actor.
I won't let you die. I won't allow it.
The film boasts a star-studded cast. It has some great sound design and tracks throughout of a fascinating variety. The color grading, cinematography, and lighting are all cohesive for a particular vision. The aspect ratio respects the original filming preferences, and the special effects are fantastic. Sometimes. Now that I've covered all that, let's talk about the other 3 hours and 50 minutes. Superman is dead. And this means the Mother Boxes are waking from having heard his scream. But what are the Mother Boxes? Well, they are living machines, you see, machines of change. They were created to come together as a three and terraform the planet according to the enemy's homeworld. Why not have them pre-built as a single thing to do the thing? I don't know. Also, kinda weird, how would it know, like, the concept of a friendly or an enemy or an owner of a planet, I guess? Does it copy the current state of the homeworld? What if you have no homeworld? Anyway, once upon a time, way back in the day, it would seem that a big alien set foot on Earth in hopes of terraforming it with his sorcerer people. This didn't work because this was Earth, and Earth had Ares, Zeus, Artemis, a Green Lantern, the Amazonians, the Atlanteans, and the race of men coming together to defend it. Big Alien, also known as Darkseid, gets whomped in the neck, his ships destroyed, his armies defeated, his boxes stolen, and his anti-life equation abandoned because he couldn't hack it in this battle.
The anti-life equation is carved into the surface of this very world.
Are you certain?
I have looked with my own eyes.
Interestingly, however, this was the only loss for Darkseid in millennia across the multiverse.
The only world Darkseid had ever lost.
The only time he was beaten. The only time someone made him bleed. The only place that ever stole his Mother Boxes from him, and the only place in existence with the anti-life equation. We have this confirmed to us by Steppenwolf finding it on this planet in a vision provided by the Mother Box, the very same thing that Darkseid found when he was first here.
He found it hidden on a primitive planet, the world that fought back. It is Earth.
After disrobing, he tells Senpai Darkseid all about this, and Darkseid is very excited, talking about how taking that planet is essentially his main whole deal. It will give him control over the entire multiverse. He wants his stuff back, and he wants them to submit. Excellent, we have our world building.
And all of existence shall be mine. The lost world is Earth. I have turned 100,000 worlds to dust, looking for those who robbed me of my glory.
Why would none of them be aware that this is the same planet, thus leading them to it prior to now?
Fading from the view of the enemy, anonymous among a trillion worlds.
Darkseid kinda forgot.
But
The
before
story of the Defiance is well known.
I have found the primitive planet.
He, in his vast, space-faring, multiverse-traveling, high-tech army, forgot which planet had all of these incredibly important aspects of his life take place. Nobody thought to write this down. The coordinates, the name, the system, nothing. He almost died. When he returned to Apocalypse, he was in a fight for power, and much time passed before he was in a position of power again. And by then, all who'd been with him had been slayed. So, with the additional director's input, we can confirm Darkseid and every system of recording at his disposal kinda forgot about Earth. Also, all of the people present for this are dead, and also everyone knows the story? Okay. You forgot to pop this in your story there, Zach. Not that it makes a difference. You probably didn't have the time. If you did, you could have had Zeus create some kind of invisibility field for the entire planet. One that he similarly created for Themyscira. Maybe it weakened him, allowing Ares to take his shot. Something that even affects the systems that attempt to lock onto Earth's coordinates, jumbling the information. It helps explain it to some degree, while bolstering Wonder Woman 84, because that film needs it, while showing you actually care about other people's movies in this franchise. I wonder if there's proof of the opposite. You know, Darkseid's fervor when talking about this planet actually has me wondering.
Anti-life is found, Desaad, and we will stop at nothing to possess it.
Why doesn't he teleport in there with his army? Steppenwolf can use it all the time, whenever he wants. Surely Darkseid can too. And he wants this place more than anything. They are literal seconds from completing their plan right here. And he can walk right in there with his Parademon army, with his Omega Beams, with Desaad, with... and fuck up the entire place. You'd think he'd invade the moment he found out.
When this world is scorched, I will come for my great prize, and all of existence shall be mine.
Okay. The thing that lets you control all life and you're not going to try and grab it. Seems a little out of character for the sake of the plotline, but what do I know? What's a bit weirder is that if the boxes brought these lads in, then why did they wait so long? The opening goofy-ass visual tells us that Superman's screams make the mother boxes call to Steppenwolf because Superman is dead. They seem to have a desire of their own, to announce that Earth is ready for the taking when Clark is dead. So why not make that announcement before he was even born, before he even got to Earth? He arrived like 35 years ago. You box things had a huge stretch of millennia to simply call in reinforcements. Not to mention that Clark screamed aplenty in his movies. Is there a different tone for a death scream? What if he died by decapitation? No death scream and thus no waking up? What if his scream didn't travel the distance? He was kryptonite adjacent after all. His power isn't at its highest. And why doesn't someone like Zod yelling not have a similar effect? Are the boxes really only going to wake up when they hear what they understand to be Earth's mightiest heroes screaming as he dies? Which, by the way, if his scream is traveling these distances, then the amount of power it has at the origin point would create a fucking sound nuke. And that's a conservative estimate. They didn't wake up when he got temporarily deaded in space, so why are they waking up when he's temporarily deaded now? Do they care if he goes off-world? Do they know? What the fuck are these things? Joss Whedon made it so that they woke up to the feeling of fear engulfing the people of Earth. That fixes, like, a lot of this. That humanity would be more afraid now with their alien protector dead after having killed Doomsday, and, you know, there's a worry that more might come. Justice League is absolutely the inferior film, by the way. Don't worry about that. Just an interesting comparison. Why is it that only one of them wakes up fully and the other two sit still, despite all three waking up upon the death of Superman? Is all of this for the convenience of the plot? Imagine if Silas's box was the first to wake up. Steppenwolf takes it with ease, and the other two, well, they weren't exactly difficult to get. It's essentially said that the mother boxes are technology made by Darkseid's team, so why not bring 3 new ones for this task? Unless, of course, they are limited, in which case how could you possibly have forgotten this planet? It would seem that according to Diana, everyone is aware during the war that if these 3 boxes unify, then the world is burned and everyone is turned into parademons. That sucks. But hey, they fought back and won. Only the Amazonians put the box in a big stone stone temple thing with guards who apparently sit there every day waiting for it to wake up. Seems unlikely, but you know what? Kinda reasonable considering its immense destructive power. The Atlanteans put the box on a pedestal with about 5 guys around it. Less impressive, but there we are. Then there's man. He stuck it in a hole. A shallow Are you fucking kidding me? These things, if collected, cause the end of the world. All 3 of you fucking moron civilizations need to have the maximum coverage and guard on these things. They should be in the heart of your cities. They have the power to destroy everything. If the enemy has to destroy your city to get it, that's gonna make no broader difference. But I guess a hole is good enough. The bloody Nazis found that one, for fuck's sake. Not long after this was decided, the Amazonians had a war with the Atlanteans, with man enslaving the Amazonians as well. So all 3 civilizations stopped talking to each other, which is somewhat understandable, but then the Amazonian one is stolen, and it's like, they're probably gonna, send a scouting party to inform Diana and the world of men, or send a raven, or a fucking message in a bottle has more chance of working than this does. I honestly didn't expect them to have a drawn-out ceremony where they somehow managed to fire a flaming arrow across the ocean that sets a stone building on fire that's picked up by a news station that's spotted by Diana, who flies out there to inspect and manages to take the arrow before evidence did with no police barrier or prevention, only to then jump down to some catacombs in the area, fucking heels of steel by the way, to then open a mystical stone door by placing a magical arrow on the wall. And then she can view the wonderful artwork that might give her a vague impression of what the fuck is happening and what she should do. Have you heard of fucking email? Get a hotspot, you backward-ass fucking troglodytes. I expect the planet being on the verge of destruction should give you more motivation to save it than firing an arrow. Fuck you. Man has nukes now. They might just be able to help. It takes about a half fucking hour to get through these scenes, and they only accomplish the same degree of storytelling as a single conversation Diana could have had with her mother. Remember, she can fucking fly out there. It would have been a strong opportunity for exposition and characterization for Wonder Woman beyond pining for Chris, not to mention spouting platitudes in each scene.
Can I be like you someday?
You can be anything you want to be.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about this scene. Diana was shown to avoid killing people in both of her solo movies. As much as this idea is not fully realized, the sentiment is there. It's Patty's design. In the opening of this film, she is seen delivering such lethal blows that blood splatters are delivered to the surrounding walls. She annihilates people to the point of blasting through doorways, unconcerned for those on the other side. Like, what if there was some children tied up right there? Then she keeps making terrible decisions, like blocking every round in the rifle by skirting across the ground rather than moving toward the man firing. She moves faster than sound. What the fuck is this decision? Did you just want to look cool? Because it wasn't cool. Then there's her lack of movement while he fully reloads his gun. She could have taken it and punched him. She could have used that lasso she constantly forgets she has. She could have put him to the ground. Instead, she gives him the god-killing super move. What the fuck? She fucking vaporized him. She destroyed a huge portion of this building. She endangered the lives of every child there. She's lost her fucking mind. After witnessing this maniac cause a significant disaster, possibly killing several people outside, with the debris fucking people up too, on top of painting the room with the blood of her enemies, all motivated by a sense of vengeance alone, a little girl asks if she can be anything she wants, and Wonder Woman confirms. Awkward, considering she's a demigod with the power to nuke buildings by slamming her braces together because she was born of a special species, but more importantly, this scene hits in no other way than fucking farcical. Let's not forget what happened to the last person who wanted to be like you, Diana.
Even now, patronizing me.
But I hear you ask, how does one fix this if they were giving it an edit? Well, maybe remove the blood and cut the scene as she does her blast. Maybe you allow the audience to assume that her blast was just a small one and it only hit this guy over, instead of confirming that she chopped a chunk out of a building while turning this man to ash. I suppose that's the best way to mitigate the sheer character assassination on screen. If only someone could try something like that in an alternate cut. Oh, these children need to see a doctor, by the way.
Back to the Dark Ages.
4 city blocks.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna be blowing up enough of London to return the modern world to the Dark Ages. 4 blocks. That's pretty big for doing that. Okay, fire is not a tiger, and that is not 4 city blocks.
In a few minutes, 4 city blocks.
The counter begins at 1 minute, you mong. Also, you're not even capable of lying. What the fuck is this line? Also, she returns right as he shoots the gun. Was she waiting to look awesome as she saves people, or did she really only turn up 1 second earlier than needed? In which case, lucky as fuck this guy ran out of bullets and took exactly as long as he did to reload, or things might have gone a little different. I mean, what the fuck took her so long? She moves at the speed of sound and tanks headbutts from fucking Superman. Wonder Woman is no longer just a rapist. She's a psychopath. Congratulations. Her characterization in this movie is fucking embarrassing. When looking strictly at her actions, she's joined the ranks of some of the most reckless heroes. Heroes that are in the job for the appreciation, but scenes that are specific for telling us who she is are essentially non-existent.
I lost someone I loved once.
No, you lost him twice.
I shut myself off from everyone.
No, you continued saving people for years, and you rescued the planet from destruction thanks to wishes going awry. My goodness, thanks for respecting continuity there, Zach. Or Patty. You guys can figure that out.
I've killed things from other worlds before.
No, you haven't. Okay, as an alternative, how about she has a scene where she explains her shame in failing to step up as a leader because she believes that Steve's death is just one example of the many to come when she begins to tell people to put their lives on the line for a cause.
This is the job.
It's my job. And I haven't been doing it. I've been reacting. Not leading. To step into the light and to say to people, this is worth your life. They're all Steve Trevor.
But she knows she has to step up because her team member is mortal and he can't lead forever. You could have this scene double up as her having concern for a team member's health that shows his position in the battle, prompting her to express through action and dialogue that she cares for the team on a personal level, life on a macro level, and balancing the responsibility of taking care of this world instead of reminiscing on that Chris cock. This conversation could get started because she notices Bruce isn't fully recovered from the battle. Again, reinforcing that she keeps an eye on this sort of stuff. Maybe if we could drop a scene like that into the movie, we could improve it somewhat. Speaking of Batman, his lack of superpowers puts him in a far more vulnerable state. Wonder Woman could even correct his shoulder while talking to him about having brought in Lois Lane. 3 things at once. He and Wonder Woman have a stronger friendship developing.
We make it through tonight. You can stay in the shadows forever. Dress up like a bat. I won't even sue.
If we get through the night.
He, unlike the others, can't tank significant hits, humanizing him and reminding the audience of the sacrifice he makes. And finally, that Lois Lane was brought in by Bruce. We're going to come back to that. You know, a scene like that seems like a straight-up benefit to me. Be a shame if someone cut it out. Be a shame if Batman was never acknowledged as the one taking the most risk being the most human. Be a real shame if Batman worked really hard to rescue his friends in battle, covering Diana, only to have this demon god jump onto his bat crab and try again and again to punch him to death. It would be an additional shame if Wonder Woman chose to ignore this, opting instead to jump off the platform away from him to collect her sword, something she doesn't need to save her teammate from certain death. It's not like this is made worse when the Flash arrives, sees a demigod trying to grab a sword versus the man trying to survive a hammering from edginess personified and chooses to push her sword into her hand instead of giving a quick and simple push to Steppenwolf, saving Batman's life. But this is in character, you see. The Flash has a crush on Wonder Woman, and he even has a moment where he listens to the commands Bruce is giving and watches him get attacked, fucked over if you will, but opts to ignore him.
I'll make sure these things follow me!
Instead, he gives a fucking morale boost to people walking upstairs despite having the power to clear out the entire building's worth of creatures in 5 seconds or less. You good?
I've got this. Keep moving.
Fucking worthless idiot. Can you help the one person on your team who is actually at risk of dying? I mean, it's not like Batman does everything for this fucking team without a modicum of respect. I mean, it's not like he's the one collecting and assembling the team, taking care of logistics, using his arsenal to save them and blow open the enemy base, assaulting all of the enemies and essentially fighting a one-man war for 5 minutes straight while his superhumans waddle in the background. Thank goodness Wonder Woman collected her sword so that she didn't have to pick it back up when she landed regardless. I hope Bruce is still alive. And I suppose the saddest thing is that Bruce is characterized throughout the entire movie as, I want to make a team for Clark. Being heroes is good. And at the end he's like, woohoo, I did it. I made the team. Excellent job. Riveting. In Joss's version, many reshoots concerned Batman himself, not just action scenes, but moments to tell us what he had come to believe between the two films and what is driving him.
His strength
Doesn't matter how strong you are.
is more human than I am.
After everything he went through to stop Clark, he's learned enough about him that he sees a man with stronger values than his own, alongside a man who has lived a more thorough human experience than himself.
He lived in this world. Fell in love, got a job. Despite all that power.
We know from his conversation with Wonder Woman later that he wants people to be inspired by heroes.
Superman was a beacon to the world. Why aren't you?
Which is on theme in Joss's version with fear consuming the world. Yet Bruce resigns himself to the shadows because he doesn't believe himself to fit that bill. He feels he lacks that fundamentally important element to being a hero in this world, and he's not even sure Bruce Wayne, the man he essentially wears as a mask, has anything close to it compared to Clark Kent. He believes it should be Clark that is the face of the Justice League.
The world needs Superman. The team needs Clark.
I think it becomes clear in the subtext that Bruce Wayne needs Clark Kent to maintain a personal hope, as giving in to fear of what may come to pass has led him down an uncomfortable and cruel road. That's a hell of a lot more for his character than Snyder ever did, and it's building on stories that Snyder fucking started. I've always thought of Joss's cut to be an absolute garbage fire, but when comparing it to an actual garbage fire, I'm having different thoughts.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
At least he actually has something compared to Wonder Woman's nothing at all, which should push us to some level of plot discussion, don't you think? What the fuck happened in this film? Steppenwolf is summoned to the first box, and the Amazonian Queen devises a plan to drop the entire structure into the water by breaking the wooden pillars. No idea how that works, or why she spends so long discussing it when the entire world is at stake, or why she takes so long to run up a wall only to come back down to strike one enemy. All of that's pretty funny, sure, but the important question here is why the fuck would you think that dropping this into the water would do anything when King Goober over here literally teleported in? His minions can fly. Oh boy, you couldn't have guessed it. What precedes is a spectacular fight where questions raise faster than the arrows fly. Man, you may as well have repurposed those guns you got from the Germans. They'd be more useful than a fucking bow and arrow at this point. Then again, aren't the arrowheads simply inside you now? Maybe the armor isn't that effective at all, but it was so cool. There's this moment where an Amazon simply refuses to pick up the cube with her arm and the incredible Amazonian agility we all know they have, to instead throw her own bow at the ground, rather than keeping it on her to use in a moment, to then die, in order to send the cube attached via arrow to her queen, who rode away when it fell to the right of her in the first place.
Guard it with your life.
The Queen, the one who drowned many of her people for this box, doesn't give a fuck when it's rolling right by her and doesn't look to defend her people as they die to get it back to her. I guess she knew it would work out. She just hopes this woman can loose the arrow split seconds before being bisected. Speaking of, what took the Amazonians so long to arrive? Look how close their city is when the portal is first seen. They're alerted immediately. 8 minutes go by and they couldn't get to Steppenwolf? Even when our guys have done at least half the journey, they may have been able to put a stop to Steppenwolf's plan. He had some trouble when 6 of them ganged up on him. Imagine a whole army. Had they been here on time, or had the box been in their fucking city, this is over. And with Steppenwolf's departure, why don't the Amazonian army further pursue him? This box is your responsibility. It leads to the destruction of your world. Wake the fuck up, you— Oh, that whole ocean of arrows is tearing the shit out of your queen, by the way.
Fire has not burned for 5,000 years.
Men won't know what it means.
Then go tell them yourself, you witless muppet. This is about the end of the fucking world. So Steppenwolf eventually makes it to Atlantis and takes their cube because King Orm is retarded.
Told the king the perimeter guards were taken. He won't send reinforcements. He says all the reserves are needed in the rebel regions.
He straight up doesn't care that the world-destroying cube is going to be taken. He will not provide reinforcements. They want me to believe that King Orm doesn't care about losing his kingdom to an outsider.
And all 7 kingdoms will have to concede that I am the one true king.
Okay, anything to make the plot move along.
Rise, Atlanta!
Come to think of it, why isn't Mira making use of her royal guard? If her father is alive, he would of course care about this and send reinforcements, and if he's actually dead, then she inherits the kingdom. Please plow the rest of your fucking team in here, you insufferable wanker. Also, why aren't you using your powers to fuck with Steppenwolf more efficiently? Like, she normally opens it up with ease all the time, but for some reason she opens it up once, and then closes it again, and then fails to open it back up for so long that she gets strangled by Steppenwolf. Why isn't she using it to help Aquaman here? Wait, she's straight up letting him get away. He's fucking musing on his triumph with the box in hand and she's just watching. What the fuck are you doing? I thought you were good at causing pain. Well, only one box left. Good thing Cyborg has it, and after deciding it can resurrect Superman based on fuck all, they give it the old college try. Only during the scene, they all forget that the mother box exists for about 10 minutes. Would be great if someone was to go grab it while everyone is fighting over Superman, wouldn't it? Like, while they're battling, maybe a bat person isn't there because he's busy getting it. Nope, the box is taken by Silas Stone and then by Steppenwolf because Batman wasn't doing anything until much later when he helps a soldier up. Wow, lucky Lois turns up to calm Superman down, eh? At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the city, localized entirely within this field of view.
Yes.
Man, if only there was a cut here that gives us a reason for Batman to be missing and for Lois to have been brought in by someone going to get her. Like killing 2 birds by flying them the fuck into each other. If only someone made that cut. Anyway, back to the box. Why did he conclude it was the smart decision to tag the box so that it could be found by the heroes instead of giving it to the heroes? What the fuck are you doing? He had no reason not to, and Steppenwolf could have been killed right there. The movie might have ended had Silas decided not to fucking hit it with a laser that he apparently did to mark the box with superheat, thus detectable with a scan for temperature anomalies. What if it fucking cools down, Silas? It's a magic box, for fuck's sake.
3.5 million Kelvin.
What the fuck do you think a reasonable high temperature is? That would literally explode the air around it. Earth is a crisp the moment you described that was the case. And fuck me, as if there isn't a unique signature for Bruce to track already on these undestroyable energy change machines from the multiverse. Come the fuck on. Come to think of it, how did Silas even create Cyborg? Because the ship was alien, and the box was kinda alien, and a source of energy, and that might just save him if you plug him into it? The fuck? What is the thought process here? How did Silas get away with sticking his dying son to a wall while experimenting on him? How does he even have access to the body? Look at it. No way a hospital or a government would allow this level of inhumane testing. How the fuck does he even have the body? And there's no way Silas got approval to do this. How the fuck did he get away with taking the box or seemingly misplacing it? Why wouldn't these parademons, having broken in and stolen several workers, not have been a huge alert immediately? How is the security so shit to allow all of these nonsense things to happen? This is like the most valuable thing on the earth, guys. The DoD aren't simply going to allow it to be misplaced. It's a mystical relic from the fucking Nazis with immense power. How could he possibly get it out of there and drop it into his closet? All of these things going this way is the only way we get Cyborg at all. Seems a little bullshit to me. He even establishes that his son now simply has the power to launch nukes. His teenage son, who hates him, thinks of himself as a monster, and semi-regularly talks about how shit the people of Earth are despite clearly trying to help these people. That's a little concerning, my dude.
Fuck the world.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the dialogue later. The ethical questions relating to Cyborg in terms of his power level and the decisions he has to make are incredible. What a topic to raise and then not explore at all. What a kind thing he did, giving this woman $100,000 from the bank when that will be spotted instantly by the IRS and tracked. Only to discover that someone somewhere was stolen from and she will be lucky to avoid jail time for grand larceny and taking full advantage of the crime. But hey, she was happy and he smiled. That's character. What a childish view of the monetary system we're a part of. It's indicative of the sheer potential lost, especially considering this is the strongest part of the movie. Speaking of how awesome Cyborg is, we've lost the mother box because he forgot Steppenwolf was right behind him. If he was on point, he could have used his power to erase buildings and blast Steppenwolf away. But Mauler, you protest. He was concerned for his father's life. He was distracted. I mean, he could have blown Steppenwolf away as soon as he landed, but he didn't. He could have flown over to his father, broken the glass, and gotten him out of there, but he didn't. And how could he be concerned for his father's life when he doesn't know what this machine even is? I'm sorry, I forgot. He knows because he has full access and control over all machinery all over the world, correct? So why the fuck didn't he turn that machine off and save his father? Why not turn it back on to fucking melt Steppenwolf and save the world? You cunt. This story is broken. He is aware of the machine and should stop it, and he should be preventing Steppenwolf from getting any closer. And why the fuck is he the only one here? Where is the Justice League? Do you guys remember these people? If only one of them could move fast. Let's talk about where they were. Fuck, I forgot this happened. We get the fight scene almost exclusively from Cyborg's suit just fucking up. Like, the mother box might have been saved. Clark might have fucking helped them stop Steppenwolf right here. But your stupid suit just happens to fire an auto-defense shot at Superman. Because what? It senses danger? Good thing it never fucks Cyborg over in any other way throughout the whole movie despite being in range of Steppenwolf and Darkseid. It's almost like this only happens here specifically for the plot. In Joss's version, we have plenty of references to Cyborg still figuring this shit out.
I got a language in my head that I don't speak. Every day, I wake up different, modified.
As well as having another example of auto-defense.
One that doesn't whine.
Rather than having complete control. It's not great, but it's better, and it's not 4 hours. Regardless of that, how come Wonder Woman didn't tank the shot with her shield? Why didn't Flash push Cyborg or the arm? Why didn't Aquaman fucking do anything? Why didn't Cyborg profusely apologize right after? Fuck you, work harder.
Kal-El, no!
Shut the fuck up. Cyborg can tank Superman's fucking laser? Batman can tank Superman's fucking laser? For this long? What the fuck? Thank the gods your fucking butler created this technology for you yesterday. Jesus Christ.
Arthur, we need to restrain him.
Yeah, you do. Why the fuck didn't you bring kryptonite? It literally renders Clark semi-harmless. You have a whole ass spear of this stuff, you fucking idiots. You're telling me the moment Flash tries to attack Clark, Aquaman attacks from behind and they hit each other, knocking them both out of the fight, thus preventing them from helping Batman. Fucking hell. And all of you stupid twats forgot the mother box this whole time. It's the only major concern you have. When you decided to resurrect Superman, your contention was on whether the box would activate, bringing Steppenwolf and thus the end of the world. How do you forget that shit? Why is amnesia a fucking epidemic in this universe? Moving on, the team have a plan to come up with. Use Cyborg to interface with the Unity and charge him up to break them away, with the Flash having built up this charge from running. How do they know this is how it works and that this will work? They just do. How do they know they have the time? They just do. How are they in time to do this? They just are.
These boxes together are world destroyers. They'll get inside you and find your weaknesses and your fears and use them to destroy you.
What the? How the fuck do you know that? What is this bullshit? Of course, it facilitates his big payoff at the end of the film, and that's kind of the problem, because what the absolute fuck? The mother boxes will try and defeat you with your fears if you plug into them as a mother box created cyborg person while also being charged up with a Speed Force powered fast person? Diana knows this. How? Why the fuck is this even the thing that happens? Fucking hell. Remind me, why can't we have Cyborg launch a nuke at the site?
Explosives won't separate the boxes. Only strengthen their bond.
Why don't we just destroy it?
They're an unknown form of matter. Now, they love heat. They absorb it. hold it in their cores.
Oh, they feed on energy, so we can't really use energy as a source to separate the boxes, if you will. You know, like electricity, plasma, I don't know, a lightning bolt. But I thought that separated the Unity, you fucking mongoloids. And even if it doesn't stop the Unity, a set of missiles will wipe out Steppenwolf and his stupid bug army. It will leave the Unity unguarded for you guys to stop it with ease.
Bruce, pull back, you're not gonna make it.
Gee, if only someone had the ability to fire an arsenal at will to save the world. But that lot ain't the only way this falls apart. For instance, imagine the Unity was instant. Imagine it took just 5 minutes. Imagine it took an hour. Would be pretty awkward, wouldn't it? Lucky it only took exactly the right amount of time that our heroes would need to stop it, even with the ability to rewind time. Which kind of also breaks the movie, right? We have the ability to rewind time with no consequence whatsoever. There's no butterfly effect, and he has immense control. The world is rewound exactly as he needs it to be, to have specific platforms that take him to Victor. Not to mention connecting to Victor at the latest moment possible that charging him would work. He was either astronomically lucky, or he has absolute control over every aspect of this ability, well beyond what we understand about his abilities and what we thought would be possible, especially when a more seasoned Flash apparently has far less control.
Am I too soon? I'm too soon!
I don't like to break this rule, but when I approach the speed of light, look, crazy things happen to time, but if I do it, I create massive electrical power.
Why would they establish that this is a rule he cannot break only to have him break it twice and save the world? Why wouldn't he do this whenever anything cataclysmic takes place? Whenever someone dies? Whenever he fucking misses the bus? Imagine the Flash took 1 minute to clear the bugs. Imagine he charged up and pushed Steppenwolf right the fuck away, allowing Cyborg the time he needs. Then, when he's told they are ready, run back and charge up to nail everything they need to do to save the fucking world. Why would you not have Flash clear the area? Why have him fuck off and charge up so early when he ends up spinning for the entire fight? He could be saving people. Nope, we can't have that. We get this plan. A plan that still gives the team the upper hand, only to almost ruin that because Batman forgot to nail this one guy on a turret spamming for presumably as long as the Flash has been running. Had Flash noticed the sheer bombardment from that one bug, he could have hit him and carried on running. But nope, neither the Flash nor Batman do, and this one guy managed to nail this shot. And that happened because the Flash wasn't doing a circular track out of range of the turrets when he can move at the speed of fucking light. So distance away from Cyborg isn't really going to change much at all. And that's on top of Cyborg deciding to plug into the Unity before dealing with Steppenwolf. What the fuck are you doing? You have access to building-destroying lasers. Stop Steppenwolf to then prevent him from killing you and your teammates to then approach the fucking Unity. You moron. Can you guys fucking imagine if Superman was 1 second too late and the axe splits Cyborg's head open? Then again, I guess that's not much of a worry when Steppenwolf was absolutely not even close to hitting Cyborg. The fucker aims like a sack of piss. Though it's a fun surprise, right? Seeing old Soup show up right when he's needed to the surprise of the team.
Alright.
His name is Clark, you plank. Though it was good of Alfred to guide Superman here while simultaneously not telling Bruce about it, you'd think he'd let the idiots know that fucking Superman is on the way to save their lives, but I guess he wanted it to be a nice surprise. Fucking based Alfred, hoping the team was dead because they're so cringe. But yeah, hopping back, imagine Steppenwolf simply attacked instead of having himself a little walk around. Or imagine something even stupider, like the Flash ignoring Cyborg when he tells him he's ready for the charge. Wait, that doesn't happen, does it?
Barry! I'm connected to the Unity! I need the charge to get inside!
You can move at the speed of light, motherfucker. He told you he's ready. Fucking go. Either this is a major hole or incredibly bad luck with shitty editing. It's also fucked because Steppenwolf drops here with Cyborg moving to the Unity, but we don't see him connect up for another 70 seconds. What the fuck is everyone doing in all of the moment-to-moment drama? They just freeze if they aren't on screen. This finale breaks apart almost as much as the rest of the plot. Only these flaws regard the destruction of Earth. You could call that significant, but is it as significant significant as adding 2 hours only for the characters to be assassinated, reduced, confused, or used as fan bait. We've been over Wonder Woman, and Batman is basically hollow, so how about the Flash? He is characterized by being awkward and lacking friends.
I need friends.
His father is falsely imprisoned. He wants to get his father out, and he's looking for a job. He gets one by the end.
His foot's in the door! That's my boy right there!
All of this is in the prior cut, and it's not 2 hours fucking longer. In fact, what gets added for Flash is this scene, this hilarious fucking scene that people actually have the balls to praise. A scene where a woman traveling at 20 miles per hour at most crashes into a car, propelling it meters into the air, flipping over and exploding in all of its 2003 CGI glory because Zack is a child. During this, Flash decides to focus not on all the drivers or pedestrians in the area that he could look out for or are affected. Instead, he decides to stroke this woman's hair as she slowly plummets to her death. He then pockets a hot dog and stares at her as he brings her to safety. People are trying to justify this scene by saying it's his future love interest. If anything, that makes it more creepy. Imagine this scene was exactly the same, but Flash was played by Movie Bob. It's also got such shitty editing that Snyder wants us to think the Flash got back in the room with the hot dog to convince the woman in the room that he wasn't out there. Though they show the store owner staring at the girl on the floor as the glass breaks. The glass would break in real time after he pushed his finger through it, and the car would have rolled in real time. This exchange of looks happens in real time, which means she saw him, and your shitty editing can't change that. Also, there are cameras. On the topic of self-indulgent garbage, Zack, why are you zooming into this man tickling the fucking burger in slow motion? Zack, why is there a fucking sesame seed flinging into my screen? I don't know that you could have made this driver stupider. Also, what is this face? You've been shot out of your car just after a fucking crash. You look bored and aroused.
You can be whatever you want to be. You're brilliant, man. Absolute best of the best.
Your kid was one of them, Dad. One of the best of the best.
This is the most substance the Flash has in the movie, and it's one line reflected back. Hardly what any reasonable person would call an arc or development, just repeating a line. He wants his father to be proud of him, and so he did this. I'm honestly surprised this didn't hit more people as an absolute flatline. The Flash's big payoff of being a great guy and doing a great thing was him deciding to use the powers that just got dropped on him randomly to save the world with no repercussion. It's literally the Flash sitting in a room with a button that says save the entire world, and we're gushing over the fact that he pressed it. Do you honestly reserve immense levels of pride for someone who decides the world shouldn't end and makes that decision with absolutely zero cost to themselves? Only benefit. I know we're supposed to hate Joss right now and all of his works, but you do understand that the reason this is meaningful, right here, is that Tony's entire arc revolves around the perceived reality that he only cares about himself.
The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
He is regularly reminded of how much he wouldn't sacrifice while trying to make the world a better place at any expense that comes to him. He guides the nuke to the mothership assuming it will kill him. He is willing to die to save the Earth because he believes it's the right thing to do. That last call to Pepper to say goodbye, just missing her, hits that little bit harder when realizing a 3-movie arc leads to this payoff. Barry pressed a fucking button that no one on God's green or Snyder's nightmare Earth would ever think not to press. Costing him nothing, testing nothing, proving nothing. How exactly are you the best of the best? Not to mention that he joined the hero team not to make his dad proud, not to do the right thing, but because he didn't have friends.
I need friends.
Wait.
You guys think this is better? Also, what is this music? No worries, we're going to talk about the soundtrack too. Instead of running in a fucking circle, Joss had him risking his life fighting monsters and saving people. I will take meaningful action over this self-congratulatory garbage any day. Snyder had his chance, and he fucking blew it with essentially all the characters at this point, and there was something for him to create here, but he didn't go beyond a line or two in concept. Everyone is absolutely cooming over this final scene when it's entirely spectacle. It only happened because of how nonsensical, poorly communicated and executed the plan was, and the reversal of time being said to have repercussions, but in reality does not.
This is like a job.
Job.
That's my boy right there.
His father is proud that he has a job. Laugh my ass off. This scene is just as terrible in the final cut as the first. But like, the scene looks awesome, pity there's nothing in it, and that's the kind of praise I have when this film is doing well. For example...
He was my hero.
Why? Why do you feel that way? Is there any insight to garner here?
You know we could do this in a nanosecond, right?
We could.
Oh, that's true, and they don't answer that, they just highlight it. So, you guys reckon this is a huge upgrade from the prior cut, and you hate the other cut for this reason.
That's the plan. Okay, we're not ready for racially charged.
Yeah, that's cringy as hell for dialogue, but you can't deny the Flash is socially awkward. He wants to make friends, he thought this was a moment, he's stared down by a black guy and says, oh shit, that's probably racially charged. It's a fair mistake to make for someone like him, it seems to line up. We then get a fist bump at the end, making it clear that he was mistaken and that they have a connection. It's a tiny, neat payoff. Meanwhile, him saying Superman is his hero is out of nowhere. When does he ever mention that in any part of the meaningful scenes about his life and what inspires him? Why is Superman significant to him? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this be your primary opportunity to explore the why behind it?
Really missing Superman right now.
No, I meant like actually exploring it, because this seems stapled on to me. The Flash doesn't seem to give the smallest of fucks about Clark, specifically when his hero is resurrected, returned to form and right next to him. Seems a little bullshit. Hollow, manipulative. Not that it didn't work, people are sucking that line's dick everywhere. I'd have wanted, substance of any kind. You can even have Cyborg share something about himself. And why don't they dig the grave super fast? And what, if anything, can we do to connect these two characters even slightly? Because Snyder's version ends after that line. What did Joss's do?
I could do this a lot faster, Is it weird that it feels disrespectful?
Yep.
Oh, they're digging slowly because they feel uncomfortable digging up a fallen hero's grave. Excellent.
You got struck by lightning, huh?
And you...
Explosion.
We're the accidents.
Yeah, it's us.
Oh, that's like actual substance. They have camaraderie over being the accidental heroes. Would be a pity if someone cut that, especially if they ended up keeping the fist bump, because it's got no meaning behind it anymore beyond the surface. So, which creator do you honestly think handled those scenes better? Especially considering Snyder had more time, resources, and freedom. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something from the Snyder Cut.
What do you think, man? You think she'd ever go for a younger guy?
Can't imagine why anyone would cut that. But maybe you aren't convinced. Maybe you're sitting there stewing on the fact that this line was just so fucking good that it painted a picture of Flash for you that is unbreakable. Well, let me ask you this. Would Barry Allen, as presented in the Snyder Cut, a man who is thoroughly inspired by Superman, not have a fucking existential crisis when that same Superman tries to beat him to death? Not only is there no introspection when having brushed so close to his own execution, but the lessons he may have learned by looking up to Clark should now be in question. He is seconds from being incinerated by his hero, and we never hear him deal with this. It changes nothing for him. This is because the line is thrown in not for characterization or meaning, but for masquerading as such. I can only imagine Joss would likely have cut this moment due to it being impossible to reconcile alongside his hero attempting to kill him with the time they had. All style, no substance. That's something that's said for many creators, but it's not not more expertly represented than in Snyder's products. For instance, why would the Flash's shoes break apart but not his clothing in general? How are his feet not fucking wrecked here? He's not wearing his suit, and he's got human vulnerabilities. Do you know what it means for him to be dragging the concrete apart? The visuals can be very neat. The substantive details are broken. His flesh should be ground down to the bone against the concrete. The Flash is a glass cannon, a normal man using the Speed Force. Yet he survives insane bullshit right here in the Superman resurrection. Right here in the initial battle against Steppenwolf. Right here when he's blasted by alien artillery. Right here when he charges into stone stairs, breaking them apart. And that doesn't even begin to cover the crazy levels of plot armor in this movie. Like Mira being spared by Steppenwolf over and over again when he has one specific job. The Amazonian Queen was spared, and Cyborg escaped death because of old Steppy picking him up this time when he could have taken his head off. Or maybe, instead of chopping him in half, he hits him with the body of the axe handle. What the hell? The glass on Batman's ship can't be broken through by Steppenwolf after several punches, but he can smash through the glass meant to contain 3.5 million Kelvin in one. Lol. Superman doesn't kill any of the Justice League, but not for lack of trying. He's simply only allowed to use execution moves when there's something in place that can save them. Like seriously, had Alfred's test failed here, also what the fuck are you doing testing it this way, you crazy old bat? Bruce would have simply died. Like one of the braces explodes, but the other one doesn't, despite being blasted for longer? And why does getting blasted across the way into a car do nothing to him? It did in the other one. Imagine Superman had killed them all. Might have changed the movie a bit. Not to mention Darkseid not using his Omega Beams to insta-kill everyone here. This shit is throughout, by the way. Even the good stuff is splattered by Snyder's idiotic goo. As you guys probably remember, I paid some compliments to Cyborg and Silas near the beginning, but that's only as far as not including everything that damages their character choices and the reality of the plot lines they're a part of, lots of which isn't included in the prior cut, like the Parademon showing up to the house to explain it coming in later when we knew that was something they did regardless. At the very least, it wouldn't stop it for more than 5 minutes. And what were the odds of the Parademon coming to have a look at the very moment a cop car drove past? The creature is solely focused on finding the box. Do you really think it's going to care about a cop car? These are normal and amateur cause and effect fuck-ups, sure. But most importantly, why would Cyborg not warn his father about this and protect him from future Parademon visits? He can send his father's phone messages at will. He fucks this up, and his father is kidnapped as a result. I would say it's a drastic improvement to remove this scene entirely. In the Joss cut, this functions as a supported surprise, not a setup. Certainly not one that breaks a character. And to be honest with you, Silas should have figured this out already from the previous break-in, but everybody is stupid in this universe. And what more can be said about Silas outside of him somehow not seeing or hearing this motherfucker ahead of time? Well, had he provided the mother box to the League, he would have saved the day, because allowing them to track it means they have the chance to get it back, but you could have given it to them now. Especially when it means the end of the world. That's on top of the fact that he never would have had this idea if not for the laser apparently being a viable option as of fucking yesterday. As if this movie needed more contrivance. That, comboed with a myriad of holes and stretches, allows the film to happen in the first place. I said he was a good actor, and he is, but this film is filled with horrible acting.
We've made some real progress. Let me show you. You're right, Dr. Stone. The test came back negative. Everyone's clear, including you.
Do you think Batman is connected to the object? You're looking at the hottest thing on Earth. Exact words I said to my prom date. She dumped me anyway.
Yeah. Why is Wonder Woman looking like she's seen the fucking bus roll in? This is Darkseid, woman. This is the future you are most terrified of. The war that you were warning people about. Can you please, for once in your screen time, look like you care?
Kal-El, no!
That was a fucking retake, by the way.
Kal-El, no!
Gal Gadot's acting is such a meme that they tried to fix this particular reading with a re-recording and it still sounds like ass.
Kal-El, no!
And I've not even covered her narration for the war flashback. Holy shit.
Darkseid was met in battle by Earth's defenders, the old gods, men, Atlanteans before the...
Oh, and a whole bunch of those examples were cut in the Joss version? Yep, we're definitely worse for it, huh?
Yeah.
So, what about Aquaman? Well, he's Aquaman. He basically spends the whole movie being a cool guy who does cool things. Oh, maybe you think that's unfair since I took that clip from Justice League. I've seen people bumbling across the internet to argue that all of the cringe was Whedon's, of course, because Snyder's much more mature. So let's play his version, shall we? Oh. That's weird. The gesture is in there, but there's no sound. I guess Snyder never recorded Aquaman doing the cringy yeah, because he is of a higher caliber. But wait, if we check out the original trailers airing before Joss was even connected to the project, what does one discover? Oh, I guess he saw fans complain about it as terrible Whedon cringe in 2017, and so decided to axe it. They wouldn't be proof of other things like that, would they?
It's good to see you playing well with others again.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
Maybe temporary.
Oh boy, and everyone was sure that was Whedon. We lost a J.K. Simmons scene just to avoid the cringe.
I hear you can talk to fish.
Even the fish joke was originally Snyder. Guys, you have to understand, Snyder was the cringe all along. He just wanted you to think that his version was entirely dissimilar, when in reality, he was the driving force behind so much of what makes it fall the fuck apart. For instance, this whole shot in IMAX and preserving a 4:3 adjacent aspect ratio. He didn't intend to do that when filming. You can see that from so many shot comparisons to the trailer back in 2016. Red Letter Media have shown this as well. What they haven't shown is that the headspace when looking at shots for what Snyder would have created from scratch after the deal was made is a bit different. Look how everyone is framed in the nightmare scenes, or the bonus Steppenwolf scenes. Look at Darkseid's final scene. No awkward headspace shit there. He shot this originally intending to cut it to size, only he began claiming it's his vision to help distance it from the Whedon cut as much as possible, which also explains the black and white and the bloated runtime. Even Superman's suit wasn't going to be black at first, guys. And if you want to claim he's changed his vision retroactively, then we need to have a chat about words retaining meaning. He tried anything and everything within his power to separate these two cuts. But enough about that. Back on with Aquaman. He's barely a character. He talks about not wanting to be king, finding most people as selfish and superstitious. This is something we get in bonus Willem Dafoe scenes, but we already had it in the Joss cut. This is just bloat. He's sort of dragged along because he's told he has to.
The mother box our people guard is not safe. The time has come. Take up your mother's trident.
Somehow it's only his responsibility to save the world. Then why the hell did you even bother defending the stupid box in the first place?
Your mother left you to save your life. It would have been her responsibility to follow that monster to the surface and stop him. Now, it's yours.
What? You guys aren't going to do anything? This motherfucker is about to end the world, and because of tradition, you're sending one guy to hopefully stop him. Is this a fucking joke? Why are the Amazonians and the Atlanteans so goddamn useless? Is it because their involvement might have ended the plot too quickly? Okay, I guess that's good writing. Regardless, like I said, he's essentially pushed into doing stuff. Man, imagine finding out more from Arthur, how he feels about the situation, what his ideas on it are. Imagine a bonus scene in the movie that gives you more insight to what he feels.
We're with you till it's done.
Honestly, I think we're all gonna be dead way before that. It's an honorable end. But we gotta shut Steppenwolf down. I know we went to war with the Amazons, but that was before my time. And you know what? I don't want to die. I'm young. There's shit that I want to do. I've been alone my whole life. But being part of something bigger like this...
This tells us something about him, whether cringy or not. Snyder, bizarrely, tries to have him generate some drama with Cyborg where he believes he might be working for the enemy.
Oh, you know a lot about these boxes. Makes you think.
You're trying to say something.
Oh, I'm saying it. How do we know you're not working for them?
Did they forget that Aquaman knows Cyborg rescued all of the people Steppenwolf wanted? Do they remember that Aquaman knows he saved the Justice League from drowning? He's provided the main item the enemies want to this group himself. Is this just a random line to make it seem as though there's drama because a successful film did that as well?
His father's dead because of us.
No, Aquaman, his dad made a choice that actually kind of screwed you guys over while also potentially ending the world. Not to mention being something that Cyborg himself could have prevented. But oh well.
In the Joss Whedon cut, Aquaman is like really mean to Victor for no reason. He's kind of like a jerk overall. And it never gets resolved, but in this one, he's sympathetic to Victor, and he talks about how he feels bad for him, and they're kind of bros.
So you can't find them? Or maybe you don't want to.
Man, I'm not doing this on purpose.
Right, because you can't control the machine. We're asking a kid who just lost his father to go up against the most powerful machines in the universe. It's not fair.
I thought you didn't care.
I never said that.
This is a completely different relationship now.
Wait, what? That's not true at all. Aquaman was a dick to Cyborg in the Snyder Cut.
You know a lot about these boxes. Makes you think. How do we know you're not working for them?
And that one actually made no sense because Cyborg had done nothing but support the team. Snyder had Aquaman say it to prompt the history lesson about the box and Cyborg's construction. There's no apology for that, it's dropped entirely. Not to mention Aquaman's commentary on Silas is inaccurate to the situation and against what we know Aquaman would say about a man having prevented the League from saving the world. He should be pissed that Silas stole the box. But the thing is, you're wrong twice over. The Joss cut removed the alternative Silas plotline. He's alive by the end. You can't have Aquaman saying Cyborg is going up against the boxes when his father died. That wouldn't make any sense. So of course this line is dropped. Secondly, Aquaman has a fantastic fucking reason to be pissed at Victor in Justice League. They all do. His suit malfunction, his inability to control the machine might have just cost them the entire world. How would it be unreasonable to be angry in that situation? Not to mention that when we hit the final fight, Aquaman has clearly come around to Cyborg and they combo up. Other than that, Aquaman says, "Yeah, alright," and "my man," while drinking and seeming like he doesn't care, just like the rest of the original cut. Because Zack didn't do anything for Arthur Curry. In fact, he fucked with Aquaman. Are you aware that the Atlanteans can speak to each other underwater, Zack?
It's true. The half-breed wields King Atlan's trident. He commands the sea.
Then that half-breed is your king.
They don't do these weird fish noises. Are you aware that only the royal-blooded people can survive out of water? That the normies and the guards, they have to have suits to survive. You seem to forget this for the entire scene of pulling Atlanteans out of the ocean, showing the entire drag, the drop, the interrogation that was already set up by Willem Dafoe.
Guards near the stronghold had been disappearing. Snatchers from above.
Dr. King Orm.
Yet you show it, and you show the question Steppenwolf asks, then throwing the dude about, then using a spider to get the answers he wants. After splitting his skull, Steppenwolf is a smart boy. So you already had a scene set for why Steppenwolf could get to the mother boxes. They call to him. You've shown he can teleport in, so that's fine. Then you add Atlanteans were being abducted and interrogated. You don't need this. And then you showed that happening. You also don't need this. Then you made the entire scene redundant twice over because he has a device to do that for him. But you didn't even need that. If only someone could have cut all of that fat out of the movie.
Volker told me you would come. The firstborn of beloved Queen Atlanna.
Are you aware of the fucking accent Mira has in Aquaman? She's not British.
He's as short-sighted as he is cruel.
Since before the Sahara was a desert.
Thank you for repeating what I just said.
It's completely dried out.
I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
My parents died in the wars. She took me in.
No, they fucking didn't. Your father is actually pivotal to the Aquaman storyline. Did you fucking forget this? James Wan considers Aquaman a sequel to the Snyder Cut. So why is it that Joss actually cut this out and replaced it to make it match Aquaman more?
I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
When my parents fought in the wars,
she took me in.
This is getting a little weird, isn't it? Whedon didn't just add ADR lines to improve continuity, he made the people in these films more human.
Did he just bail?
guy still bothering you?
Civilians.
We gotta pull these things apart. A couple more seconds. You'll see your opening. I think we can take it.
Good. So I really like being alive.
So do I. Clark. I take it back. I want to die.
Oh my god, it's like the first time Superman actually had a proper fucking laugh in this dismal, tormented universe.
But I'm also a big fan of justice.
Fuck yes, I will take this cheesy-ass line over watching Nightmare Superman slice body parts off screaming enemies while firing his laser at innocent people. You are welcome to prefer otherwise. How about we compare the goobers?
We have families.
Why does everyone keep telling me that?
Whedon's Steppenwolf is so committed to the evil bad guy trope that he's baffled by the idea of appealing to a family as a reason to spare a life. It's pretty damn cheesy, plenty to have fun with.
Please, we have families.
Then you have weakness.
Wait a minute. Isn't your entire thing in this movie to get back to your demon alien family under the wing of Daddy Darkseid? Also, that line is pretty damn edgy. Make of them what you will. Though I think it's worth highlighting that in Snyder's version, the Justice League simply arrive and see Silas is in trouble. Whedon's has a quick pan before that, showing Silas still wears his wedding ring, comboed up with his expression bolstering his connection to his family, in what would be a drastic situation. Probably would have been worth keeping that. In one of the last shots of the League staring out into the world, Joss has them looking at life returning to this evil villain base, obviously on point with the vibe of the film. Similarly, Zack gave a suitable visual that meshes with his vision, a murky, decrepit, smoke-laden wasteland. I think it's clear that Joss was trying to make repairs. And in regard to the characters of Aquaman, Vulko and Mira seem to be very invested in the mother box. They even turn up at the end to congratulate Arthur. I like how he locks arms with Willem Dafoe as if these guys did fucking anything. The Aquaman stuff is a lot like the Batman stuff, and the Flash stuff, and the Wonder Woman stuff. You know, worse in the Snyder Cut. Cyborg has more flesh, but he also has a metric ton more fuck-ups. Then we have the Amazon Queen, Lois, Mira, Martha, Lex, Vulko, Darkseid, sort of. Like, none of them are characterized beyond their function in the plot. Even the meaningful Martha-Lois scene didn't have Martha in it. Apparently, the Martian Manhunter was very invested in getting Lois back on track to being a fucking journalist.
You haven't been to work since Clark died? I can't. There is something you can do for me, honey. Come back to the living.
This man seriously needs to reevaluate what he's invested in. But more to the point, why pretend to be Martha instead of talking to her as the general that she has a relationship with? Especially since if she references this discussion in future, she will realize someone fucked with her. You're going to scare both herself and Martha for no reason. The fact is, he can go over her issues with Clark's death, not necessarily Superman's. He can talk about her work and give her encouragement. Instead, he now risks everyone seeing him go in as the general or Martha and leaving as the opposite or the same, and have everyone questioning just what the fuck is happening for the general to be there. But he also turns into the Martian for a moment in the apartment building for no reason at all. Why risk getting caught? Is it just to make fans cream their pants at their favorite comic book guy? Man, if only there was a cut that kept the substance of this scene, maintained the characters involved, and removed the Martian element considering how redundant it was. I honestly think it shouldn't go understated that this meaningful discussion and connection between Clark's mother and Clark's love interest is removed for no other reason than bait. It's also sad to know that Bruce didn't help out Superman's mother with her house, especially after the moment they shared. But whatever, everyone sucks in this universe. Speaking of which, the villains, ladies and gentlemen. Darkseid wants to take over the world, running exclusively on nostalgia for fans because nothing of substance comes out of him except, "Wah, I'm evil." At least we have Steppenwolf, right? What was his motivation again? Well, unlike the Justice Cut, where he was a powerful entity looking to facilitate the unity and ascend to godhood as a reprieve from his exile, conquering the Earth in the process, he is now a powerful guy looking to conquer the Earth for Darkseid, because he betrayed him once. That was worth the extra 8 scenes of Steppenwolf. It's certainly worth the 2 hours. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Praising this edition as if Steppenwolf is incredibly strong as a character now. He simply works for someone who has the exact same motivation as Steppenwolf from Joss's cut. Do you guys even remember the theatrical version? And what level of subtlety was used to get this motivation across to the audience, I wonder?
Steppenwolf, who might have sat here by the side of the Great One.
Dad, let me make a plea to him that I may come home.
Oh, they just start discussing his core motivation.
Mighty Steppenwolf, undone by his self-pride.
Let me make a plea to him.
You betrayed him.
I saw my mistake. I slaughtered those who sought his throne.
Like, wow, they just lay out everything both of them already know for the sake of the audience.
He will be pleased. He will see my worth again.
This is considered to be a strong addition.
You still owe the Great One 50,000 more worlds.
Wait, what? 50,000 planets? How the fuck is he gonna do that? What? The villains in this film have been proven to be retarded already from everything they forget, alongside their multiple opportunities through both the boom tube and the big old portal device to invade Earth, at its weakest, with their armies, after establishing the planet has everything they want. And they see Steppenwolf has almost won, but they do nothing. Not even Elizabeth Warren has the balls to get in there and make a difference. Hey, remember the big fight? Why didn't he just set down in the middle of some random island to commit the unity? It literally burns the Earth and gives him control over the inhabitants. It sounds pretty useful, dude. Why go to a place where all of the armies are going to meet you? Nearly all of them are landlocked, you stupid fuck. The Atlanteans are going to be way too slow to catch up to you, and you can blast them with your giant fuck-off spaceships. Maybe you lost the fight because you put your gimpy, defenseless, copy-pasted sorcerers in the center of the battlefield, doing fucking nothing, only to be killed by a normal-ass arrow. Imagine he put them behind his ships and protected them. In fact, how did they know you were coming here? It all has to be figured out in the modern day. Did you warn them? Like, you didn't have to set down here, Darkseid. This is fucking embarrassing. Man, maybe a cut where you remove all of the Darkseid scenes, all of the bonus Steppenwolf scenes, and the additional nonsense world building could be made. Maybe that would give the story more coherency. Who knows? What we do know is that dialogue for Steppenwolf was terrible, and the movie is filled with it because Zack is terrible at dialogue.
No man in the sky intervened when I was a boy to deliver me from Daddy's fist and abominations.
Not to mention the DCEU is pretty terrible at dialogue.
Handsome. Hunka hunka!
But like, you know, what are the examples?
Who are you? The lasso of Hastia compels you to reveal the truth.
Why the fuck would you explain what your truth lasso does to this man when you're trying to find out everything you can as quickly as you can to save people's lives? His personal knowledge of the lasso's function makes no difference. He will tell the truth regardless. Was all this because you can't write expository dialogue?
As I talk to my father, who's still in prison for the murder of my mother, which he didn't commit. Yeah, how did I get interested in criminal justice? I can't remember.
I am a drag on your life.
Wow, isn't it convenient that the first time we see this significant background character from Barry's life, they spill out all of the important details about both their characters and what they both want?
I want you to listen to me because I mean this. I want you to give all that up, and I want you to stop coming to see me.
Was all that because you can't write expository dialogue?
Ryan Choi, Director of Nanotechnology. That's your thing.
Oh, yep. That's my thing.
Wow, why would that guy say it's your thing and then you repeat it's your thing, Ryan Choi? Is it because that's a reference to the second atom? Is all that because you can't write expository dialogue?
Who have you ever loved?
Oh, you said that to Batman, the guy who
knows exactly what it's like to lose someone he loves. Like a mother, a father, like an adopted son.
Wow, these lines are so good they just write themselves. Wish I was so talented as to point out that Batman loved his parents. You stupid fucks. I'm just so glad that we were able to fully understand exactly who these people are through their words and their actions, not just expository dialogue.
We understand who these characters are by words and actions and not just expository dialogue.
Fucking hell, Brown Table, I was taking the piss. How could you possibly think this?
You need me to help you undo this world you created by letting her die.
Hey, you know what criminal justice would be for me? My son not wasting his life.
The dialogue is awful.
This one will be mine.
I belong to no one.
Something is not working.
Well, no shit.
Down with the modern world. Back to the Dark Ages.
Oh, this line, it's so bad. But, like, how do you even achieve this goal with blowing up 4 city blocks, you git?
Oh, sorry. That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's what that means.
It's so cool.
Oh, jeez.
I need friends.
Read.
Good God, people thought that was a Whedon reshoot.
Who are you?
We're a small group of reactionary terrorists.
Why, when speaking the truth, would they call themselves reactionary terrorists? What? Okay.
I hate Atlanteans as much as you Amazons do.
Hate is useless.
Hate is useless? Jesus Christ.
Besides, who's gonna give you a reach around?
Oh God, stop. Everyone is so quick to shit on Joss's dialogue when Snyder's is absolute dog shit. At least the terrible mandated jokes were given a level of awareness. Snyder thinks this is glorious.
Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
Oh look, the joke where everyone is faster than the Flash somehow. I guess that wasn't a Joss joke. Not fast enough to stop the rock that falls on top of people despite stopping the rest. Not fast enough to dodge the laser shot. Not fast enough to make his job interview. And not fast enough to catch that everyone left around him. Not fast enough to outpace Victor to the fucking mother box. What a great Flash.
Strong man as strong as alone. You ever heard that?
Ever hear of Superman? He died fighting next to me.
My point exactly.
So this isn't a saying, it's Zack's dialogue for sure, but I mean it's certainly not true, and man, if it were me, I would cut in a response to challenge it. Like, I don't know, Bruce saying that's the opposite of what that saying's supposed to be.
That's not a saying. That's the opposite of what the saying is.
Oh, Joss did that, and he managed to make it a superior scene despite chopping it down, because he cut out this fucking bullshit. What the fuck is this? Seriously, was Ben Affleck just walking through these people hoping this will look and sound great in the end? Maybe that was the attitude for a lot of the movie, since the soundtrack is pretty ass, wouldn't you say? For example, Zack decided we needed this track for walking upstairs. Wait a minute, why the fuck didn't you just cut this out? They're walking upstairs, dude. Could this film have some bloat? Zack decided to use this song for The Flash.
Till your singing eyes and fingers.
It's playing as he waddles to her rescue. I can't.
Did I dream? You dreamed about me.
The fucking lyrics just said, "Did I dream you dreamed about me?" as he is grabbing a fucking sausage in slow motion. You can't make this up. Some of this shit comes out of nowhere.
Let us go now, my darling.
You just end up pondering what the fuck is wrong with the person making these decisions. Like, this applies to changes too. Remember in Whedon's how Aquaman had his own awesome, cool dude bro epic scene where he awesomed his way through the ocean? Well, we got this track. Zack decided to change it to a different track.
Starry heavens above me, the moral law within.
I'm not really vibing with that.
So the world appears.
Oh, I don't think that matches well. Remember Wonder Woman's theme? The thing they play when she's about to commit a war crime? Well, they do that in this, with all the grace of a constipated Magikarp. But that ain't it for all Wonder Woman. As if she needed more damage from this cut, Zack decided that her theme should be encompassed by a ghastly fucking yodel every goddamn time she does fucking anything. Listen to this inane horseshit.
Shall we?
This was so distracting that I struggle to think any human being on this planet failed to notice. But music is good at manipulating an audience. For instance, what if Superman's theme is played at several intervals?
So do I, sweetheart.
Is this because it's earned? No. Superman is in the same worthless, dour state as he was in BVS. Oh, that movie is ass cancer too, by the way. We got videos on the Moolah channel all about it. Links in the description. Oh my god, again.
The third.
Okay, look at this. Batman hid under a rock. Now look what it does to everything else. Congratulations. The S is a symbol. It means hope. You can make a choice. They will join you. A choice. You will help them accomplish wonders. All the hopes and dreams of Krypton live in you now. You gave hope to their world. Love them like I love you. It's totally a choice, though. Bridge the worlds. Burn the fuck out of unborn children as a part of a civilization that had one chance to live again while crashing said container into Metropolis because you're an awful person and you aren't held accountable. Also love them. Bridge them. Lofty, meaningless dialogue to bring you back to the stage you were at not a movie prior, which means Superman was just on pause and then punching things while in his black suit. And on top of that, putting on the black suit had no fucking story relevance at all. It's literally done to make you like and share that cool thing you saw, scoring points for doing nothing but referencing something you enjoy from something more substantive. Y'all are easily fucking pleased. Oh boy, look at these suits. Put it in the promos, I beg you. Anything to tickle my balls. Lois is essentially Superman's ragdoll, hence the lack of commentary, which means we need to talk more about Superman. Isn't it pretty mortifying that Superman's core confused state is that of killing anything and everything that seems like it could hurt him, on top of being shown to go fucking nuts and kill everyone once Lois dies? Though it makes sense considering his characterization in Man of Steel.
Krypton had its chance!
We talked about this.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
Again, most of the heroes in the DCEU are atrocity-inducing psychopaths. Though, in terms of plot, it's insane to me that so much pressure is placed on bringing him back to beat Steppenwolf and save the world at the cost of activating the cube, when they completely forget about the cube to focus on him and then forget about him to focus on the cube once again. He is your ace in the hole, you fucking idiots. You need to tell him the world is ending. You probably should have opened with that. Or maybe you should have told Lois to tell him. Like, the end of the world is placed in the trusting hands of hopefully he shows up. And he only does because he thinks they must have brought him back for something.
They wanted me back for a reason. I need to find out why.
When they could have easily brought him back because he's Superman and he died to save the world. Imagine he was satisfied with that being the answer. The world fucking ends. Imagine he took a day to recalibrate. The world fucking ends. Imagine he did turn up but he was too late because there was no rush. The world fucking ends. They put no effort into finding him when everything rests on it. They just hope.
We'll be here, Alfred, I know it.
What makes you so sure?
Faith, Alfred. Faith.
What the fuck is this dumbass line doing here? They know he's with Lois. They know where he lived. But nope, they don't give a single fuck to try and contact Superman when he's the main hope of actually winning.
Faith, Alfred.
Shut the fuck up, man. If it were me, I would likely do a reshoot where I have Batman be the one to bring Lois in, to be busy sorting that out, which, like I said, fixes some issues on its own. And of course, have him tell her what's happening so she can explain it to Superman. That's probably what I would do, whether I was forced to record a bearded Henry or not.
Now I have to send you away. He needs you. Fate of the world, I think that's the deal. He was pretty tense.
Well, I guess I do owe one.
Anyone who thinks Snyder's cut is more coherent than Whedon's wasn't paying attention. The funny part to me is the shitty dialogue, the weird music choices, the truncated pacing, the awful special effects, and generally ugly-ass color grading is explained by having a couple of months to completely alter a project under the stifling view of a desperate movie studio. What the fuck is your excuse? Oh hey, that's a nice segue into the effects of this movie. Why do they have a shot of Steppenwolf sneaking a peek? Like, he does it for a bit, and then they show it again. I know that he wants to get his axe. It's like he's a fucking actor from L.A. Noire trying to remain non-suspicious. It's just funny to me. Oh my god, what the fuck is this? What is this stupid-ass bullet dance you have Wonder Woman doing? Look at this equally goompy-ass glide Superman's doing. What the fuck? What?
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head.
Like, plenty looks solid, but you don't have the excuse this time for stuff that's just downright hilarious. Please stop, I can't handle it. What? Alright, so if a significant portion of the cut is worse, yet added in under half an hour, and so many of the beneficial elements are equally tiny, then where the hell is the time code going? Well, how about some comparisons? In the Joss cut, we learn that Lex has escaped his Bruce Wayne-facilitated imprisonment in Arkham, and it takes 31 seconds to get to Deathstroke approaching Lex from the beginning of the scene. In the Snyder cut, we learn that Lex has escaped his Bruce Wayne-facilitated imprisonment in Arkham, and nothing additional outside of some cringeworthy acting to get the same frame in 112 seconds. That's almost 4 times as long to achieve nothing more. That Lex Deathstroke scene is pretty amazing, by the way. Payment comes in the form of Batman's name being revealed as Bruce Wayne, something Deathstroke hasn't figured out for as much as 20 years despite it being tossed around with no regard for secrecy, in as recent as this movie.
So let me get this straight. You do dress like a bat. Like an actual bat. Dressed like a bat. You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
Worked for 20 years in Gotham. If the fight comes, we'll need you.
Don't count on it, Batman.
All of these people are right fucking there, you twat. Sorry, back on track. Let's look at a scene where the Star Labs janitor discovers the Parademon. In the Joss cut, we learn the janitor came across a Parademon. This sets up the missing people being interrogated about the box because it's not in Star Labs anymore, but the scent is. It takes 24 seconds. In the Snyder cut, we learn that the Star Labs janitor came across a Parademon. This sets up the missing people being interrogated about the box for the same reason, and it takes 71 seconds. That that's not including the bonus scenes that reaffirm this information on top of that. It's already near 4 times as long. How about the intro, where the gunmen are entering the building? In Joss's cut, they enter, go up the stairs, and then get the people into the main room. In the Snyder cut, we watch this man go from the bottom floor, across the stairs, up and around to the main room, and it takes an extra 90 seconds. Zack even adds that they install a fake guard despite the obvious nature that a secret alarm would have been tripped, and they want the police to know they are there. They call them to witness this, for fuck's sake.
We'll be making a statement shortly. Until then, if I see any movement, you'll have a lot of dead kids in your hands.
We have no demands. We're just stalling the police while we do it.
While you do what?
These dramatic extensions that cause more problems are throughout the movie, and I don't know, seems a good idea to cut all this fucking bloat, doesn't it? Also, what the fuck? You see these guys exit the same van as this guy who went right by you, and there's no concern about him? Is it literally because you didn't see a gun on him? Why would you assume they're not together? Okay, how about scenes of visual splendor, like the Amazons firing the Arrow of Artemis to warn Wonder Woman? Joss takes 23 seconds to say that Wonder Woman will see the arrow light up on the building and war is on the way. Stupid, but short. Snyder took 127 seconds to do that exact same thing, only to then add scene after scene of Wonder Woman gallivanting in an ancient cave to unlock a stone door with this arrow and find out through carvings that Darkseid got bitch slapped and he's coming back. Maybe. When the men bury the box, the scene is over and done with in Joss's version, but Zack feels the need to show us that they are definitely putting soil on that hole. Remember how Superman's scream is waking up all of the boxes? Something that you could have a character say at a later point in your movie?
Didn't call out to Steppenwolf. None of the boxes did, not until
Superman died.
It's like they were afraid of him.
Yes, they were afraid of him.
Which doesn't make much sense, by the way, but whatever. How long do you think Zack needed to visualize it? 5 minutes and 22 seconds? That doesn't account for the full intro, by the way, just the Superman scream portion of it. Then there's the slow-mo. So many fucking shots in slow motion to try and justify this runtime. Slow-mo on Aquaman's rippling face. Slow-mo for so much of the action to make sure you absorb just what the fuck is happening before you're hit with hilarity. Motherfucker is self-indulgent to say the least. And that's a criticism for every aspect of his filmmaking on display.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
He even fucks the slow-mo up sometimes, filming the women and slowing them down, but failing to slow down the rubble when it's put in post. At least Joss can say he didn't have a slow-mo shot of a fucking sesame seed slapping the camera. It surprises me to the sum of zero that Joss would have cut this fucking seed out. If you hadn't guessed it already, I don't have a single fucking issue with length. It's bloat. It's the inane waste of our finite lives that Joss can actually spare you from, in part. You guys ever think about this scene where Silas is dropped into the facility, moved through, and placed with other people ready for interrogation? It's entirely bloat. We know he was kidnapped, and then we see him in the interrogation later. It's just like the Atlantean interrogation scene. Why include it if it's redundant? And this is strictly from an information time argument. If you want to argue for atmosphere, films could be 10 billion years long. Perhaps next time we will watch this man climb stairs for 10 hours. Is this to bloat the film and get it as long as possible so that optically it seems entirely different from the original cut? To further prove how the WB butchered it, when in reality it's just a fat Justice League with different colors and different jokes. Not to mention some bullshit stapled on and some better stuff removed. Because fuck me, Zack, you played the audience like a damn fiddle. Why do you think the trailer shows so many scenes that aren't in the Whedon cut at all? It's to convince you the entire film was different. Do you guys feel excited for the future? Do you feel like it was the substance that convinced you to get hype? Or was it the bait? The pure, unadulterated fucking bait. Darkseid, Steppenwolf, Mother Boxes, Deathstroke, Lex is back, Joker, Desaad, Elizabeth Warren, Nightmare, asshole. The Justice League table. Cyborg movie? Flash movie? Wonder Woman movie? Rebuilding Wayne Manor. Batman solo movie. Justice League 2? Nightmare movie. Wonder Woman prequel movie? Why did Zack dress Wonder Woman like a fucking Dracula? The Bat Tank. Oh, that was a fucking worthwhile payoff, wasn't it? This is mystery box shit, guys. This is JJ's fucking forte. It's literally what they plastered in the promo shit, you fucking fools. How about the ice breath? That shit came out of nowhere. Probably would have been useful in several occasions across this entire mangled franchise. And it relies on a third-party knowledge of Superman, because this shit is insane for a new viewer. But if you are aware of past properties, it might just give your balls that extra tickle, assuming you aren't too busy reconciling morose mass murder man with actual Superman.
This isn't a joke. You can't murder people and call yourselves heroes.
Superman is almost normal again. That's good. More movies to come. Oh, and look, Martian Manhunter. Hopefully he gets a movie too.
Oh, and some have called me the Martian Manhunter.
Wait, but wouldn't you rather be known by your name? And who, my good man, fucking who calls you that? Also, why would you think describing yourself as a manhunter alien would come across as friendly to a superhero with no context? Especially this superhero. Who the fuck talks like this? Unless they're creating a promo to manipulate fans. Oh, and you know what? We haven't really spoken on his scene yet. The scene where he comes down to Bruce and explains that he's invested in helping. He has seen people come together, and it's given him new hope and a stake in the world, when we know he had a stake in it already.
How do we know you won't one day act against America's interests?
He has actively tried to save the world on a regular basis in his human persona, and he's already seen the team-up in BVS. Oh, I'm sorry, where the fuck were you in each of the 3 world-ending events, you cuck? Why are you turning up once everything ended, with each of Zod, Doomsday, and Steppenwolf defeated? Fucking cowardice is what that is. I'm sure you're not going to tell me that he was added later in production to bait fans too. Surely not. Surely Bruce doesn't look thinner and older because this was shot well past original filming dates. And surely making Martha the Martian Manhunter in this scene wasn't an attempt to avoid looking like this was all dropped at once, right? It honestly wouldn't surprise me if the Martian Manhunter Bruce scene was tacked on and Zack felt they'd already tacked on the fan-baiting Joker nightmare sequence, so he needed to justify this one a bit better, leading him to take the Martha scene and make it a Martian Manhunter scene, to establish him beforehand to make the end look less fucking blatant in terms of the manipulation. Oh boy, that would be cheap, right? To use the fans that way?
I shot Martian Manhunter, the shot of Harry Lennox, a shot I didn't have, of him leaving Martha's apartment.
Yeah.
I shot it right down right down in the driveway.
Zack just wants more movies. He wants to slam his $100 million action figures together again and again, and he knows how to garner support for it. It's all manipulation. Joker was marketed as having new and important scenes, but not only does he lose his trailer dialogue in the final cut, he only shows up in a fucking dream to offer a reach around.
I wasn't cheating. I wasn't doing like, oh, you broke the rules.
Like dropping this promotional shit that doesn't appear in the movie. Probably because Jared Leto shot this for his private collection.
I am not someone who is loved.
I suppose that would explain the nightmare sequence, wouldn't it? A scene that was clearly shot well after 2017, specifically to make it seem as though there's way more of a plan. To have the entire conversation bait the deaths of characters, the arrival of characters, and the tumultuous end of the Justice League. It's all bait. Oh boy, recycling footage just to get people to push for you to have your sequels because your shitty movies could never stand on their own. You have to bait sequels and a franchise because you are the MCU without the substance. Think on that as a statement. Justice League being this almost base plate of a story created by Zack, with 2 creators coming in to tweak it according to their respective preferences, resulting in 2 cuts. One being given every limit under the sun, from tonal to length requirements to not even having the script controllable to begin with, to the other being given full control, a ton of money, freedom, and access to actors that would be rare for most. On top of that, the most important element provided provided that accentuates every other one is time. Time to craft his vision specifically, something the other did not have. I know that people are absolutely loving the Snyder Cut right now, but I've never been one to go with the flow, so let's summarize. The characters have been butchered through thorough incompetence, far further than Joss's depressing attempt at recovery. None of them behave with a shred of intelligence throughout the story. There is so little concern mechanically and ethically for the prospect of bringing Superman back, which is unacceptable and softens the significance of the event for this story, but that was clearly already the case in terms of Henry's screen time. Meanwhile, Joss had him say a bunch, and he referenced Pet Sematary, Doomsday, and has Wonder Woman pushing back hard with Batman pushing for the resurrection, fueled by his guilt, giving Bruce and Clark something to bond over when he returns. Compare that to Aquaman raising a small, unheard alarm right before it happens, along with Cyborg, who panics on seeing an apocalyptic vision of the future, of which he never addresses, almost as though the visuals were bait. What a shame. Lex's journey from psychotic to coherent was skipped for the audience. Not that he was particularly engaging to begin with.
The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming.
Shut the fuck up. It would seem Victor is being praised, and he's falling the fuck apart. Outside of every complaint I have for his story in a logical sense relating to the man he is, the ethical questions are daunting, and only a man-child like Zack could give the power to destroy the world to a teenager and forget to interrogate the implications. Silas is a fucking crazy man, and he's responsible for the generation and operation of this power.
We're all at your mercy, Vic. Everyone's lives are controlled by complex digital networks that will bend without effort to your will.
It's not only insane for him to comprehend that, it's wrong for anyone to have that power. It's what we're trying to prevent Darkseid from doing, you idiots.
Their free will must be ripped from them, given absolution in one glorious belief: to serve him.
Bend without effort to your will.
Their free will must be ripped from them.
The film is not ready for this conversation. The craziest part is that the one time he could use this newfound, unethical, incredible connection to save the world, he doesn't. Batman has to instead.
It is the burden of this responsibility that will define you and who you choose to be.
That's true, but we don't see it. He helps one person, and unfortunately, he probably destroyed her life. The implications and consequences of his actions are so much more interesting when he's also so naive about the world. This is prime real estate for a fantastic story. It could be so tragic while at the same time being so uplifting. None of that is seen or explored in a meaningful way. None of it is internalized. Instead, we get shit like this.
Fuck the world.
Because this film is as vast as a long, boring brown ocean, and as deep as a droplet. You had 4 hours, and you couldn't even make the accident multi-layered. It's just a standard car crash. Apparently you rely on them. Did it strike anyone else as odd that when Batman is recruiting, he's willing to throw a fucking batarang at someone in hopes of seeing what powers they have?
You're the Batman?
So you're fast.
Are you fucking kidding me? You have no idea how his powers work. You don't know if you caught him off guard, or if he has to charge something, or if he needs special shoes, or if he needs particular gear, like you do. You could have straight up fucking killed him because you're a moron. All of these sorts of things are very indicative of character. Like, there's this weird bit where Batman fucking kicks a bug down a hole and it splats. Because, you know, for some reason it doesn't use its fucking wings. Batman is watching this, marveling at it, giving us the full Wile E. Coyote treatment, while fucking Steppenwolf is right there in front of him attempting to kill his teammate. Why is everyone so blissfully moronic? Like Flash, though at least Whedon actually had Flash do something in this movie, unlike Snyder. In the final battle, Flash is running in a circle until he hits the automatic win button built on nonsense. Whedon had him killing enemies and saving a family.
You're going in circles, man.
That's awful!
Not to mention this payoff being entirely at odds with the idea that the Flash had to loop for fucking ages to earn the charge for Cyborg. Here, he's completely reset, and then he runs for what seems like half a single loop, and apparently he's all good. That's satisfying. In the prior battle, Snyder had him giving a morale boost to civilians while they climb stairs. In Whedon's, the Flash was saving people personally. He didn't even have time to ignore his teammates while they're attacked in front of him. And in Whedon's, the Flash Flash was scared. This is early in his career, and he's only ever pushed people around. This helps nerf him because he should be dominating these battles. It's not preferable, but it helps explain why we get to have battles that include the whole team, and he gets to the point of ripping the bugs apart personally by the final fight. In Snyder's, he was given a whole extra scene that's entirely embarrassing bullshit, and no nerf, making things fall apart even more. How the fuck do people think Snyder handled this better? 4 fucking hours and the characters are almost as thin, if not thinner, than a 2-hour cut. How the fuck does that happen, especially when the answer to me was as simple as having Darkseid's parademons flood in through a boom tube for Flash to deal with, pushing him to his limits as he wipes through as many as hundreds of them as they try to reach Cyborg. This could surprise Darkseid, explaining that he did indeed send reinforcements, but he didn't expect them to get this kind of pushback. Not a fix, but a tweak that could alleviate 2 issues at once. It's a weird disaster. She legit gives the sweater a big ol' sniff. Snyder's vision. The bad guys aren't any better, of course. Steppenwolf has an extremely thin background, entirely overshadowed by Papa Darkseid, who essentially just is what the MCU fans feared Thanos would be in Infinity War, and kind of became in Endgame. You know, I'm evil because I'm evil.
And all of existence shall be mine.
God, these villains suck.
I told you. Steppenwolf would fail.
That's pretty rich coming from the guy among trillions, including Darkseid, who forgot a fucking planet. You guys stood there and watched him battle 6 superpowered superheroes, including a fucking Kryptonian, and you're surprised he lost? Even though it's worth mentioning that a planet lacks a Kryptonian when trying to conquer it?
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian.
You lot are absolutely useless. You could have taken Earth. You could have had everything you wanted, but...
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it!
Actually, wait a second. Are you suggesting that if a Kryptonian were here, you would have left? Because you clearly can't fight one. In fact, you probably should have portaled out of there when he arrived, like your more intelligent predecessor. On that note, Cyborg and Silas weren't the only numpties in the laser sequence. Steppenwolf chose to awkwardly move through this doorway instead of blasting through, right to the mother box. Which, if he simply grabbed without a concern for Silas, this is another way he might have survived. Ironic. Hey, the hallways in this place are kind of human-ready. Steppenwolf wasn't smashing through all the walls, so did he do like a little goompy crab walk in order to get in here? Cause fuck it, Hellbait. That is something I would absolutely pay to see. But still, I'm confused. Superman is basically a Kryptonian anomaly. Not only are Kryptonians essentially extinct, Superman is the only one to reach this power level, unless you count Zod. These guys are gonna be piss easy for someone like Steppenwolf when they aren't powered up, which only really happened with Clark. Wait a minute, are you telling me that the only planet to have a juiced up Kryptonian defender is the only planet with the old gods, and the only planet with the anti-life equation, and the only planet to have beaten Darkseid back irrelevant of the Kryptonian the first time? What a calamitous cosmic coincidence, Batman. Not to mention that you could have had that stupid equation for millennia, but you forgot a fucking planet.
How embarrassing.
And on that note, Master Yoda, how does a space-faring, multiverse-traveling culture get BTFO'd by an army of medieval fuckwits? At least Whedon had the Chad Steppenwolf pulled away from the fight after showing strong resistance to the gods because his battle was lost. Snyder had the virgin Darkseid suffer insane damage, bleeding the fuck out and crawling away to be carried onto his ship while he fainted from the pressure. This is your main villain? Do I even need to cite Marvel, you worthless fuck? Darkseid only survived because Ares got distracted. This loss was brought upon him because the enemy planet did the unthinkable. They defended themselves. Thanos fucking relished the competition.
Let him have his fun.
Like, do you understand what's happening here? The big bad's big bad boss almost died to the guy that Wonder Woman killed ages ago. Even Thanos' defeat was infinitely more dignified than Darkseid's life. He's pathetic. Steppenwolf looks like a 5-year-old tried to draw a suit of armor. The bugs are worthless, and the two subordinates are just bait for the future. But what an epic fucking battle, am I right? They did what no other world in the multiverse could do. Hit him with an axe. Not gonna lie, this fight was easy as fuck, and I'm embarrassed for the people who expected more than what we saw in Joss's version. You guys got fucked. Your very first appearance of the DC big bad, and he got completely cucked. Also, somehow, Steppenwolf combined with Darkseid put up less of a fight than Zod's fucking henchmen. Go home, you absolute losers. Oh, and then there's the plot, chugging along with all the fortitude of a dead whale on a desert in space. I don't know if you've grasped it yet, but no scene in this wreck is running on cause and effect. No scene could make sense to save its life. It's all incredibly convenient and impossible to boot.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here.
Do I know you?
Batman went out with the team, patched them in, but didn't introduce Cyborg to Alfred. Okay. Wonder Woman didn't tell Alfred about Cyborg after their meeting? You would need them all to be patched in for this fucking job. All of this stupid shit to tell a thin joke, for fuck's sake. Though it's also pretty retarded that Cyborg would have missed this rendezvous and all of them would have died if not for his father being kidnapped that very night, leading him to want to find them by looking into the right patch of sky on the right day at the right time. Why does Silas know everything there is to know about Cyborg's alien motherbox-induced capabilities? Seems like fully understanding all of this information should be just a tad out of his reach. Nice and convenient for Victor to learn about, though. Why does Cyborg need a charge to get into the motherboxes at all, instead of simply connecting as a motherbox-created person? Why choose to write it that way? Is it because Snyder had to get rid of the Flash for the fight? Because he's too powerful? Only to then drop an entirely hollow payoff on him to distract the viewer from the fact that you prevented the Flash from doing anything in this movie? Who knows? Aquaman is told the mother box needs protecting, and had he been told any later, or maybe saved more random fishermen, or taken one extra drink at the bar before heading over there, Mira would have straight up died. Pretty convenient for a different film's existence. How about the fact that the Bat-Carrier ship is given dramatic significance in terms of getting Batman and the team to the enemy lair, but in both versions is destroyed after the spire is sufficiently damaged. In Snyder's version, it just turns back up to take them home. What the fuck happened there? Surely a cut where they simply look upon their victory and their return home is left ambiguous would be superior. Did anyone make that cut? Oh. Did you guys see the absolutely abominable formations of their armies? Both good and bad. At least Endgame has a partial excuse of rushing a bunch of dusted people into battle. This is 3 prepped and civilized factions previously having fought wars against a solid unit, and they all flail across the battlefield. I hope Shad doesn't see this. Also, why did they decide to keep the cubes on Earth? Diana said they fought with warriors from the stars. Fucking take these ridiculously overpowered, horrifying monster boxes away so that Darkseid can't reconnect them so easily, for fuck's sake. And is the equation really a bunch of symbols on the floor? How in the holy fuck does this translate to taking the will of the universe? Why the fuck even ask? Inconsistent mother boxes, everyone forgetting about them, and I mean every single fucking person who knew about this great war in Darkseid's army that Desaad said everyone knows well. Absolute horseshit. 3.5 billion Kelvin. The suit's malfunction. Silas's decisions and sacrifice. Cyborg's major gaps in knowledge and action. No missiles from Cyborg. The plot armor. The luck. A giant middle finger to Aquaman. The final plan is insane compared to what they could do, and it almost fails in a million ways because our team is as retarded as ever. Only to work because time travel is fine. Which brings us to the world building, in which our wonderful plot and characters house themselves. A world with consequenceless time travel, matter reconstruction, full military control, resurrection, worthless civilizations who will let each other die even if it means their own people's destruction, embarrassing villainous factions, and infinite teleports. Man, what more can they do to destroy the stakes? You remember how Steppenwolf is shown to be hit here? He then gets frozen off screen for 2 minutes until this happens. That kinda reminds me of a lot of the shitty editing throughout this movie. Look at the scene here with Ryan Choi. He just blips forward because someone fucked up when binding these two shots together. There's so many examples of these little flourishes throughout, so many times that people are off screen and therefore we don't concern ourselves with them. Not to mention how much bullshit was left in the cut. Zach, where did you learn to edit? So, the characters have been fucked. The editing is shit. The soundtrack is disjointed, if not horrible. The aspect ratio, black and white bullshit, bloat, slow-mo, and marketing were entirely constructed to trick people into thinking this was a meaningfully different and better movie. The effects make me question things. Like, why was Zack trying to rip off Linkin Park when creating his Motherbox world? You know, special effects have gotten better since then, and that's not mentioning the dialogue that makes good, normal, friendly, wholesome, regular, everyday people reconsider the First Amendment. But how do we tie this all off? How about the theme of being stronger together, united as one, to defeat the hardships life throws at us? Only most of the team are pushed along by their respective civilizations doing nothing to help them in the first place.
Take up your mother's
Uniting because they kind of live on Earth and don't want it destroyed. When considering why each character joins the team in this film, they essentially blur together. So little is done for them as people that when we finally see them fight as a team in all of their glory, you aren't thinking about how far we've come. Rather, you wonder where we came from. It's even worse on the world stage. The Amazonians don't help because they forgot that they figured out travel beyond their borders. Not that it's surprising, these are the same psychopaths that drowned their own people trying to cage someone who can teleport. At least when someone is chasing you with that ability, it's better you put objects in their way, forcing them to decide on cutting through them or teleporting because it buys you precious seconds. Taking all of that time to drown your own people in an attempt to annoy this creature is deranged, and you should be sectioned after serving a fucking jail sentence. If only someone cut that bit out. The Atlanteans don't want to help because they're busy knocking out rebels instead of dealing with the end of the world. And what about Man? Man doesn't know this is happening. With our team being absolutely useless when being combined and put against Superman, you quickly realize that Zack Snyder's Justice League is Superman. What the fuck is any villain going to do against him unless he turns evil? We have the theme of uniting together for our true strength smashed to pieces by showing the three significant races of Earth failing to join together against the darkness through stupidity, ignorance, and a petty concern for power, with one man we all look to get us through the dark times. Perhaps that's more poignant in a depressing way. Regardless, what a fantastic story. For real though, let's talk improvements. The weird fish cult, they didn't eat Bruce. There was Based Alfred teaching an alleged actress how to brew tea properly. He even had some cool lines.
If I had $1 for every possibly...
Yeah, make you even more insufferable.
He's probably the only thing I can enjoy in this dark abyss of a universe. In the opening, Snyder had Bruce attempting to assemble the team regardless of an explicit threat, which is in line with BVS. Whedon screws this up and has Bruce assembling them because a bug splattered his box graffiti all over a wall after having been shot with a net. No fucking clue what anyone was thinking with this. Gotham looked pretty neat though. Also, I was curious when watching the original Justice League because I figured they could just destroy the mother boxes and nobody addressed it. But then, in Snyder's version, they did.
Why don't we just destroy it?
Fire doesn't destroy the boxes. They're an unknown form of matter. Now they love heat. They absorb it.
These improvements are worth $70 million.
Master, now that the mother boxes have been destroyed, how will you retrieve your great prize?
Wait, destroyed? I thought you were separating them back into 3.
I want to plug into the Unity. 1-on-1. Fuse with it. Weaken its bond from the inside so we can break it back into 3.
The mother boxes have been destroyed.
Okay, I don't understand at all. How about Based Alfred firing an alien laser gun at his new invention in his lab? Though that was pretty retarded. Cyborg had some extra stuff that was good. It's marred in extra bullshit though, so I don't know how much it's worth. It also cost 2 more hours. Based Alfred got to speak to Superman, but that really didn't have anything in it. I think there's more, but I can't remember. Jeremy Irons was pretty cool. The fact is, the core team is a crumbling mess of idiotic, creepy, ignorant, psychopathic, and and ego-driven monsters, caught between a myriad of movies representing them in ways that absolutely wishes to piss all over what you understand about them. The disrespect is through the roof. Fans of the comics must be furious. They dangle what you want, but snatch it away while revealing they don't give a fuck in the process. I'll bet you want to see the nightmare sequence, don't you? 'Cause it'll be cool. Well, be ready to spend it with this psychopath. No, the other one. Please stop being. Oh man, Clark carries himself the exact same way Superman does. There's not actually a difference between them. That's odd. You're not even wearing the glasses there, buddy. It's... Okay, it's fine. Our boy is gonna be A-okay. He's soon to have a new adoptive father, and Darkseid is only marginally worse than his previous dad.
Maybe.
Batman is given no respect from fucking anyone throughout, despite being the absolute lad that keeps it all together.
How did you get the house back from the bank?
I bought the bank.
Wait, what? Just buy the house, you fucking weirdo. The mother boxes had humble beginnings once upon a time to now be eldritch demons because Zack is an edgy boy. Aquaman is unrecognizable. Superman viciously lasered off a portion of Steppenwolf's head. But I suppose that's nothing compared to his neutral state of murder everything. The horn lasering thing is especially weird with Wonder Woman right there. She never tries to string up Steppenwolf with her lasso. You could get information out of him. You could easily subdue him. I mean, think of the way you can combo it up with your team. It worked on fucking Doomsday. It would very likely work on fucking Superman, but she only gives it the one try. You should really use that noggin of yours and try this a second time, Diana. This prevents him from further punching your friends while reminding him that he shouldn't kill innocent people as part of a rampage, because that's the level we're at with this Superman. Sorry, I'm getting distracted from telling you how they fucked up Superman by going into how they fucked up Wonder Woman. Again. So, Superman, the psychotic Snyder version, almost executed the Flash. I need you to absorb that. He was stopped by a brave fucking soldier trying to distract him long enough to save the superhero, only to be provided a death laser. Pretty sure this gunner is dead. Pretty sure Batman is dead. That laser didn't just hit his gauntlets. What's far more important is that this absolute bullshit is never addressed by Superman or the League. Superman uses his bloody laser against the Justice League and innocent people more than he did against invading, world-ending aliens. Who wrote this? He's very likely obliterated an innocent man for trying to save the Flash, and who knows how many people would be dead if not for Lois happening by. Holy fuck, what if her final visit was yesterday? Martian Manhunter almost convinced her to go back to work. Had his goal been achieved and she stopped visiting Clark's statue instead of doing it one last time, Superman would have fucking killed everyone. What the fuck is your motivation, you absolute Jimmy Neutron reject? Like, I figure I don't need to say it, but Wonder Woman and Superman were both assassinated in this movie, whether you use comics or prior movies as a reference. She punched a guy into a group of children and then compensated by hitting him back like a ping pong ball into the wall to splatter his brains in front of them all. Similarly, Superman is fucking broken, which is doubly unfortunate because he's barely a character in this film to begin with. Yet another bait and switch for all of you out there. Cyborg failed to use the tools at his disposal that gave him the chance to become a superhero. But fundamentally, in both versions, they failed to create a character that is congruent with his emotional state. We are told he hates his life and his body, but we aren't shown a meaningful reason why. In both films, there is no physical suffering while operating as Cyborg. There are no significant references to a longing for his squishy human body parts. There was no overwhelming frustration or confusion relating to the sheer amount of information coursing through his head. There was no lamentation on a career in the sporting world having been cut short. There was no knowledge or representation that he can never interact in the normal world without being seen as an other. There are simply surface-level references to him believing he's a monster. In fact, he shows us how incredible his abilities are, how much he is now capable of, only to then complain about being alive, whining that he is a monster when as an audience you can only guess where the issue lies, and you simply wait for him to say that this is clearly better than being dead. His story had major potential. Instead, we raise a bored eyebrow and listen to some choice dialogue.
Fuck the world.
He almost allowed the world to burn to a crisp without doing what he could to stop it, and he let his father die, which I guess gives him a kinship with Superman, so there's that.
Maybe.
At least Homelander pretends to be a hero, fucking hell. You know, for those who still aren't convinced, Joss tried to give a throwaway line to explain it.
No. This world needs you.
The world needs you.
The idea that Superman's memory was coming back in pieces, that this resurrection had a monkey's paw effect, referencing Pet Sematary to assist in translating to the audience that something is wrong with Superman and he needs something to get him back on track. A lot of people tend to confirm the corn scenes are an obvious example of an improvement on Snyder's part, despite the fact that Superman says fuck all in the new version, mainly amounting to, I have a second chance and I'm not going to waste it, to then be summoned by the magic plot fairy. What makes it worse is that he goes to collect his new suit while the world is fucking ending because he has no reason to move any faster. Meanwhile, in the Whedon cut, Clark says he can't quite handle being in the house for too long because of the confinement of a box being too familiar. He says dying and coming back was a weird experience, and before he can finish, Lois finally has some character.
You would have been very disappointed in me. I wasn't Lois Lane, dedicated reporter.
It's okay. I'm back now. And I'm gonna make things right.
He consoles her as she admits she's fallen away from her important work because he died. Soon after that moment, they give us this.
You called Mom.
Of course.
Clark recognizes the sound of the family truck in the distance, or even the sound of his mother's heartbeat for all we know, and thanks Lois for calling her.
Thank you.
Now I have to send you away.
Bruce.
Only to then remember that Bruce is the one who pushed to have him back, and Lois reveals the peril the world is in.
The world needs Superman. And the team needs Clark.
We are reaffirmed in his connections to Bruce, Lois, and Martha, while showing Lois to be a layered human being for once in this iteration. Not to mention Clark gets to speak on his experiences, and Henry Cavill actually gets to fucking talk. We then move on to the point of him having his memory back, and he gets to be a superhero again, because Whedon was forced to do something with all of this footage.
So, how do I help?
We buy him some time, he can stop that box from destroying all life on Earth.
Well, I knew you didn't bring me back because you like me.
He remembers their conflict and Bruce's conviction that Superman needed putting in the grave only to resurrect him. He remembers their differences. Lois then grounds him, and he didn't kill any fucking civilians.
Because now I have to send you away.
Bruce.
He needs you.
Well, I guess I do owe one.
It's terrible, but it's so much better than a Superman forgetting the context of his life and death, only to decide to start simply executing people. Also, he doesn't remember any of the League except a vague recollection of Batman, but he knows to stop Wonder Woman from clanking her braces together? How? Why? He didn't even see her use that move in the 2 minutes he knew she existed. And that's on top of the fact that this movie makes it really hard to feel that these people are heroes. Oh, let's not forget Wonder Woman chopping off Steppenwolf's head while screaming, by the way. Could have fucking fooled me. Fans of Martian Manhunter get to enjoy him being the galaxy's greatest coward. And then there's Green Lantern. Can you see this boy? Oh look, he's gonna use his ring. Can you see his green laser? Oh, another green laser. A third green laser. And he's dead because he can't fight worth a shit. That must have been wonderful for you Green Lantern fans out there, knowing that Ryan fucking Reynolds had the better run. Like, you'd have to be the dullest creative mind in existence to take a hero that's power is limited by imagination alone and give him 3 attacks, all of which are a fucking laser. But you know what the worst thing about that is? Do you know what version had the Green Lantern launch a hammer, only to cut to his execution, allowing us to wonder how he lost the fight instead of knowing he fumbled around like a narcoleptic rat? The Joss Whedon cut. Drink that in. I get that it's trendy to hate him right now, and go ahead, there's plenty of good reason, but fuck me, Joss did the better job here. And that's saying a lot when it's not even his own film he's trying to fix, on top of the fact that he didn't have 3 years worth of fans reacting to an earlier version to know what to lose from the final edit. Hindsight in this case was an incredible font of information for anyone creating a cut 3 years on, and this was the best Snyder could do. But how about we do one more example before we close out here? There Here is a scene where the Justice League break into Star Labs. In Snyder's version, the Flash is incredibly suspicious while answering questions. He's made to look idiotic, and he's giving away that he's lying while handing his card over, only to then throw in a joke on top.
Aye, aye.
In Joss's version, the card is being given in. Everything up to that point is cut. Back to Snyder, the screen errors out and the guard knows it's wrong. He doesn't sound an alarm, he simply gives a look. Cyborg then hacks in and the screen glitches until the card is accepted. The guard mysteriously says, okay, and the Flash says,
okay. Oh, gee, okay.
His flumpy attitude, along with the recent break-ins and this being the most valuable place the DoD have, pushes me to think this is nonsense. In Joss's cut, Cyborg hacks it as the guard checks, leaving him to be a little curious about the glitch, but otherwise says it's okay. The Flash then says,
okay. Okay.
Much like many examples in this film, Joss was given a shitty Snyder scene and he cut it up to improve it. You'd be surprised how much he did that throughout. Moving on, in Snyder's, Cyborg clears out the entire population of Star Labs with a contamination threat. Only Silas is the one person to believe it's false. He decides to stay, everyone else decides to leave, and only narrowly misses these cosplaying chucklefucks as they move through the base. How very cautious of you guys. Silas reports the situation as false, only to then see them walking in. None of the Justice League have any concern about this man, nor his desire to call them out. They just assume he won't. It's not like he spoke to Cyborg before making this decision, and lucky for them, Silas decides to cover for them. Wow. Lucky that nobody else stayed in, lucky that he stayed in a place that he would see them when doing the report. Lucky he decided he didn't need to know what they were doing. Instead, he simply agrees with them. And is it not weird that he doesn't suggest the laser treatment right now, since the goal is to apply a tracker to it in case it's lost? You'd think it would be discussed, since he values that over them having the box. So, what did Joss do? Well, they got in through that gate. We presume they managed to sneak around the base and Cyborg hacked what was needed, because Joss trims the fat and reduces the contradictions while adding character and removing decisions that fuck with characters. But he ain't a miracle worker. What little stakes there were in the resurrection scene don't even apply now because the Snyder Cut has Flash reversing time anyway. He can't really fuck it up. Joss didn't give him that ability yet, nor the repercussions that come with it because it destroys the stakes. Joss Whedon's Justice League is terrible. Zack Snyder's is even fucking worse. Joss didn't have as much Silas or Cyborg, sure. It also doesn't have all the problems that are brought along with their scenes. The interesting thing about this video is a lot of the criticisms apply to Joss Whedon's Justice League, only it's not stuffed with inane garbage. It's not filled with more than double the issues, dwarfed in terms of the damage these issues deal. And fucking hell, lads, it's not 2 hours longer. Justice League has a scene where Wonder Woman explains her reticence toward leadership, that she doesn't relish telling people what to put their lives on the line for. Bruce explains that his life is worth trading for Superman, reminding us of the sacrifice he makes being the only man among gods. The Flash is utilized with some degree of intelligence, Aquaman is given some insight, and Cyborg is a lighter version without the complete fucking lunacy. Joss tried to erase many scenes that simply made this experience worse. He tried to add new ones in to better connect the material. He even removed all of the world building because it's catastrophic, but he couldn't really do fuck all with the turgid base that Zack had filmed. You want the true hot take? I feel sorry for Joss Whedon, that cunt. Watching these cuts back and forth reveals a man trying to mop up another man's incessant shitting with nothing but a teaspoon. He made the better film for fucking sure. Like, at least Joss was aware of his cringy film's story.
Strong man as strong as alone. You ever heard that?
No, I've never heard that once in my life.
That's the opposite of what they're saying.
Yeah.
He played into the schlock.
You say a word about this, you'll meet every piranha I know.
I honestly didn't hear anything after "We're all gonna die."
Zack's movie thinks it's simultaneously intelligent and mature.
Fuck the world.
And all I can do is laugh. But what? It's worse because there's more cringy jokes? A jelly lip? Because it's color graded like a 90s pop song rather than a teenager's idea of murky nightmare piss? God, it's so washed out it looks like a cancer patient. Maybe you hate it because of the Russian family, but have you ever actually criticized the Russian family scenes beyond saying, oh, it's out of place? Seems to me me, it's a welcome fucking relief to have people being saved in a Snyder DC movie, and the coverage I've seen of this so far has been incredibly biased, surface level, and desperate to avoid controversy while ushering in what might be the pinnacle of the video essay YouTube genre being no less bloated and bland than the movies they cover.
It's an epic war movie that, in a way, is at war with itself by nature.
God, you're pretentious, and you delude yourself by thinking you're some great writer, even though you're terrible.
And hey, no hard feelings. I've only had a handful of creator references so far. I think I've earned one more for the road.
This was my most hated scene in the entire original movie. In the original, these scientists get kidnapped, and right when our heroes show up to save them, our main villain Steppenwolf starts killing them. But instead of one of the 4 fucking superheroes jumping in to help them, they hang around for a second and they joke around with each other before jumping in. Out of the 4 of them, nobody tries to stop the murders.
No, actually, both of them do this. Watch the Snyder Cut again, or skip to this scene, fucking hell. From the moment they realize people are in trouble, they take another 60 seconds to make a move, while people are almost certainly seconds from dying. It's only Cyborg that reacts when his father is in Steppenwolf's grip, which is the same as the Joss cut. They're both awful. And the frustrating thing is that people edit out anything remotely substantive from Whedon's cut while ignoring any of the insane fuck-ups in Snyder's during reviews. Instead, they pick up on one line and they add an entire history of what they believe it means to the character to compensate. We've known most of these people for about 2 minutes. The charitability is fucked, which is what's so disappointing. So many people are praising the shit out of this movie for its script and cohesion when it couldn't be further from earning that. From what I've seen of the most celebrated scenes, it genuinely comes across as though people want the dullest of edgy bullshit to excite fan theories and hype trains till the inevitable shitty sequels come out. Only this is the one time we know this abomination isn't and shouldn't be getting a sequel, and yet people are lapping the diarrhea right up. They are engorging on further prospects thanks to hearing Batman say a gamer word.
Make no mistake, I will fucking kill you. Then I do it slow.
The Batman Joker scene made me cringe out of existence.
How she suffered so!
I could feel my cells melting into each other. Each inflection and poorly thought out focus and quirk splattered onto my screen, causing malignant optical and auditory herpes.
I've been dead inside a long time.
Fuck this. It's cognitive sewage.
Besides, who's gonna give you a reach around?
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Now, I may not have changed your mind, but the discourse on this movie demanded this video. I get the feeling a lot of creators didn't even enjoy this film, they just tolerated it in a wider discussion on creative freedom, the wave of praise and hype preventing them from seeing this for what it is. Or perhaps they wanted to avoid backlash. I already know this video is going to be incredibly contentious. I've heard people say, unironically, that we at least get something in reference to additional content for characters, plot, or history. Something is unfucking acceptable for an additional 2 fucking hours. Where the hell are your standards? Not to mention the sheer number of people trying to remember the criticisms for Joss's cut while fumbling all over the references, failing to realize that many of the criticisms they levy at Whedon's cut applies to Snyder's. I think you were all told over and over again that it was an entirely different movie in order to sell it, when in reality it is a fatter, shitter Justice League. That's the real harsh take to come away with, but it's the truth. The fans were played. Personally, I hope I never watch this nightmare again. Also, fuck supporting creative vision when you're only going to apply it to people you want to see content from. And fuck it twice if you're going to use that to deflect criticism from this movie. I mean, how many directors get to shit out a horrendously written movie destroying established, beloved characters with a multi-million-dollar backing and an all-star cast? 3 times. Enough fucking Snyder bowel movements. Please, let someone else try to make something out of this IP. It deserves better than this miserable, embarrassing sludge. Because let's be fair, you fuckers can't control yourselves. You have to share your feelings immediately because if you felt them, it must be a sign of good writing. It couldn't be bias, even if you give this a rewatch in a year and wonder what the fuck you were thinking, which is kind of relevant. You've had 4 years to tear apart Justice League. You've had 10 days to think on the Snyder Cut on top of tying your fucking personality personalities to it. Because fuck me, Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to age like the League of Nations. I told you guys the Snyder Cut existed. Every fucking cut exists if you spool through the cutting room floor and add in every last motherfucking walking sequence. Jesus Christ. There are countless additional issues being discovered as time goes on, and it's only been a week. I'm not here to reaffirm a perspective you have, or let's be honest, a perspective you want. I'm here to tell you what I saw, what I heard, and what I fucking endured for 4 hours. It's a slog of murky, miserable, morbid sludge, and I don't believe I deserve this level of pain. What people fail to realize is that you need Justice League to be canon for this series of movies to be more structurally sound, for less character assassination and more cohesion with the franchise. It's insane to me that there is this level of contradiction within itself and in regard to the properties it's trying to pay respect to. I mean, they managed to assassinate Martian Manhunter and they only had him on screen for 30 fucking seconds. What the fuck? Apparently I care more about this universe than the cunts who write it. DCEU fans have the hardest fucking job. Imagine constantly pretending that your favorite movies have even a modicum of strong writing when stacked up against a franchise that is accidentally carrying its defective brother through having even just a few movies that aren't fucking balls.
You're a laboratory experiment. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Snyder is not a man that best functions when being able to go at his own pace. He needs restriction and someone to chop the fuck out of his movies to improve them. Even then, you end up with garbage. So how about we don't bother next time? Good luck to the future, you zombie franchise.
I don't know if you're gonna care about this either. It's not gonna change your life.
Hello, I'm the Meme Repository. I tag-teamed with Mauler over the course of many sleepless nights to help get this video out, because dear lord, not even the longest of men could slay this movie properly within the space of a week, and Zack Snyder needed to be stopped. No matter the cost. You can check out more of my stuff in the description below, or you can check out the EFAP movies for the other DCEU films, which I also edited with many additional notes and gibbons to tear these films the new hole they have desperately earned and long since escaped. Fuck me, man. People actually had hope for this cut.
Why would you believe there was any hope? Chris fucking Terrio co-wrote this. It was aborted from the start. What the fuck was the point of any of this?
Well, Mauler, I think, and don't worry, I know everyone watching was just beside themselves thinking, but what does Jay think? I think we should support the Snyder Cut. It sets a strong precedent in the future for studios. I think you meant to type studios there, not in your script. It sets a strong precedent in the future for studios to provide creatives with the money, freedom, time, and access they need to create great works of art. So who knows, maybe next time they'll do it for someone talented.